Hello, guys. How are you? This is Desi Neo. I'm back at you with part two of my review of my conversation with Hamza Tzortzis on Mufti's channel. And right now, I'm connecting my phone as a hotspot. I don't have Wi Fi, so my signal might be weak, or I don't know if my voice is coming through, but I will try my best to finish up the part two because I didn't want to leave the part two for too long. I finished up the things that I had to do, and now I am trying to finish off the video that I started because I think it had 10 more minutes or so. So I will try to if anybody's listening, can tell me if my voice is okay, because my internet is not very strong over here. My phone is my internet. But if anybody can tell me in the messages or chat if the voice is coming through clear so I can play the video. You are so mysterious, man. Ray, the producer, is there. So, hey, Ray, how you doing? Is my voice coming through, and is the signal coming through? If it is, let me know. Sounds good. All right, good. All right. So here we go. I'm gonna continue with part two of it. I don't remember exactly where I left off. So I will kind of continue on from where I think I left off. So here we go. Let me play that right here. Okay. Yeah.
The biblical scholars have already spoken about this. They say we can't do this gymnastics anymore.
Now, see, he, as I was saying, he's saying that I'm making a blanket statement. I'm like just generalizing. And here Hamza is basically generalizing all of Christian scholars by saying, well, all of the Christian scholars have already said that. What do you mean Christian scholars have already said that? Have you spoken to all the Christian scholars? Where is the consensus? No. You're going to name one Christian scholar who said that the stories in the Bible are mythical or could be taken as allegory, whatever. And now, with that one person, you're going to extrapolate to, well, Christians have already admitted that the stories in the Bible are mythical, uh, and and that's kind of like a blanket statement without any proper proof.
We just have to admit it's mythological. It's mythological. Just like Dr. William Craig, he argues that some of these statements are referred to natural phenomena. He does not take them literally. He doesn't even take them allegorically, I believe. He takes them as it's mythological, and that has a function according to him. So it's not as simple as saying, oh, all religious texts do this. There are some valid
No, not all religious texts, and I never said all religious texts. I said some religious texts.
and invalid interpretations, and there's some valid and invalid meanings, and you have to you will know how to assess that when you understand the tools of interpretation of a particular text. And the beauty of the Quran, it gives us the tools of interpretation.
And so does the tools of interpretation on other text. Like I said, every single every different exegesis of different religious texts have their own rules and regulations and how you interpret them. Islam has its own, Christianity has its own, Judaism have their own. Textual criticism is up, I mean, is a big field in all of these books, right? That the go. So Islam also does the same thing, and you have your own methodology.
The beauty of Islam, it gives us these principles from the Quran itself, and from the practice of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the rightly guided
Yeah, and Desinu, are you familiar with any subject or any science that's called usul tafsir that exists in Hinduism, or maybe?
No, not in Hinduism, because obviously Asul Tafsir will not be in Hinduism, it'll be in Islam. Hinduism will have their own way of interpreting their book, like I just said. So in this situation, he's trying to extrapolate, saying that, oh, like Islam has a Asul Tafsir, so that's how we know the meanings of the things. The other books don't have it. Well, other books have their own system. You have your own system. course, I'm not like a scholar or mufti or anything, but I'm familiar with it, what it means, and how the asul of tafsir and asul of hadith and
I'm saying because you equate the Quranic interpretation with the interpretation of Gita and Vedas. Do
no,
you
no, no.
think?
I didn't make a direct correlation. What I'm saying is on a very higher level image, not like at the nitty gritty of
Yeah,
it. I'm
so it
talking
was
on a bigger picture thing, the similar things that, like you said, like William Lane Craig is. No, I didn't. I said on a bigger picture, so that I'm not saying that the way the Islam does the Asul Tafsir is exactly like how the Gita does it, or exactly like how Christianity does it. So my point was they have their own system, but Mufti took that as like a totally different way. He took it as if I'm saying, uh, you know, that I don't understand that Islam has a asul tafsir. And Hamza basically narrows down on this point, saying, "Oh, so you said that look at a bigger picture, which means you really didn't study any of these stuffs, and you're just have a superficial understanding of it." That's kind of not what I was trying to say, but he took it as that and used that to kind of disparage me in a sense, saying that, oh, really, you don't really understand all of this stuff, you haven't really taken a deep dive into it or something. But this is very skillful way of strawmanning the other person's position, almost to a point where he's saying that these stories in the Bible are myths. And the way I look at it is Islam is also on the same path within the
no.
next
Let me
50,
explain why
60
that's the
years
case.
or 100 years. On the same path because even right now, there's a lot of scholars who are embarrassed to, say that, yeah, these things, you have to believe it just the way it is. So they're trying to find loopholes around it. Like instead of saying the Muhammad flew on a whatever Barak all the way to heaven, since they can't say it that way, they have to make it sound very sophisticated. So you have people in Pakistan saying, well, it was Barak means light, and light could be this, and wormholes and interdimensional and fifth dimensional beings and all that stuff. Why do they say all of that stuff? Because they want to look sophisticated. They want to not stand there in the 2020 22 year 2022 and say that our prophet flew to the heaven on a Barak. So they are already doing that, the Muslim. But since Islam is a little bit behind Christianity has already done all of this stuff. Islam is on its way. It's slowly deconstructing. A lot of people are like, oh, okay, yeah, well, we can't really believe all of that stuff. But anyway, years,
Yeah.
certain scholars will be like, you know what, we really can't take these things as a literal
Let me,
thing that
yeah.
the
Let,
moon
let
actually
me
split and all that stuff,
let me explain why that can't be the case. Because when you study the structure of these verses, you study the purposeful ambiguity as well, and the valid range of meanings that are not an infinite scope, it's a limited scope. You see remarkably that when you take the layers of meaning, they would make sense primarily from a first person phenomenological perspective, first person naked eye perspective. But there are other layers that in a phenomenal way make sense to more modern readers or readers who have a different insight, or they give different layers of lessons. And I gave an example previously of the word alaqa, for example. Let me
okay,
give
so
you.
the way, if you guys caught on to what he's saying is, of course, when you read the Quran the way it is written, it's written as a first person perspective. That means a person who's just reading the Quran can interpret it like, oh yeah, the sun goes around the earth and the earth is flat and all that. First person perspective, how the person is looking at it, it makes sense, and that's how it's written. But those words that are written, they have multiple meanings in Arabic. And now if you take those words that have multiple meanings, you can use the other multiple meanings to add layers of meaning that make sense in today's time. And that is basically what these people are doing. They're saying, well, Quran has all these layers. Well, these layers are because of the multiple meanings, and you're attaching all these meanings to all these words. Not that the Quran originally had all of these layers.
An example in Surah Mu'minun, chapter 23, God talks about alaqa. Now, the word alaqa in the context of these verses is connected to the epistemic goal of that God is the best of all creators, and about that God is going to resurrect us. We're going to die and we're going to be resurrected. So these are the conclusions. Primarily, the primary function of this verse is to conclude that God is the best of all creators, and that we're going to be resurrected. We're going to die and be resurrected. So how does
definitely understand, and I heard when you said it the last time. So on the,
I want to give it again because it's important for the pedagogy, not of yourself, but for others who just join as well.
The way I feel like it is, these layers that you talk about are man-made layers that are being added onto the Quran, which originally on the first person perspective, these layers are not there.
That's not.
I said the layers. It seems like these layers have been added on, in the sense that since the word has multiple meanings, later on, as the scholars like you or other scholars have read the Quran, they have taken those words and used those multiple meanings that are in the Arabic language and extrapolated more ideas into it. Like, oh, this could mean this also, and this could also mean this, and all that. And I'm not saying that they added meanings to the word. I'm saying they take the meanings of the word and added more information into it, ad hoc, added all this information back into the Quran, saying, oh, Quran must have been talking about this. Oh, when it says the earth and the heavens were split asunder, well, earth could mean the matter, and sama could mean the universe. So when it's talking about splitting, it's talking about the Big Bang. This is basically you're adding more information into the Quran, which wasn't there. Just because the word is split or burst apart or moved apart, you're taking that and adding Big Bang into that, because the word is in such a way that it can mean multiple things. Same thing, originally God made everything from smoke, right? The word is smoke. Now what do? You take the word smoke in Arabic and you're like, oh, it has multiple meanings. Well, it could mean this, it could mean that. So then you go into science. It's like, oh, in the beginning of the universe, the hydrogen was everywhere and it was like a smoke. So, oh, there you go. Quran must be talking about that. That's what basically you guys, or I mean, the people who do that do.
Not true, because those layers are there by virtue of the classical Arabic language that's been preserved in the classical Arabic dictionaries, and they're not made up meanings. So, for example, if you go to, for example, works by Jamakhshari, or you go to Ibn Manzur's work of Lisan al-Arab, or you go to any classical dictionary, you will see those are the layers of meaning. You won't find another layer that is, in someone in the 21st century saying, oh, let's add another meaning to the layer of the word Allah. That just doesn't exist.
Can that be reinterpreted in a certain, like, for example, that you spoke with that gentleman?
You're conflating two things here. You're conflating layers of meaning with understanding. So there's a difference between saying that this word means 5 things: a leech or a worm, something that clings, clay that sticks to the hand, blood in a general sense, a blood clot, right? That's the layers of meaning. Now, the reinterpretation that you're probably talking about, and you're conflating the two, is, well, if we adopt the meaning that it's a leech or a worm, how do we make sense of that today? That's a different situation, right? And using our rational faculties, we can make an argument just by reasoning, saying, fine, when the Quran says leech or a worm, when we observe that particular reality, what could it possibly refer to? And lo and behold, when we have a microscope, it looks like a worm. I don't say that. You don't say that. Dr. Dale Lehman, in his book Anatomy Demystified, calls it a worm, right? It's the appearance of, and the language allows it from the perspective of that verse. It's the appearance of looking like a blood clot. Now, we're not making that up. You may disagree with how we've connected it, but it's the onus of the person to come to us and say, well, I disagree the way you've connected it. But it's so simple, it's very hard to say, well, no, it doesn't look like a worm. Because,
well, you know what? That's the same arguments I've heard from Christians also. they interpret their book and they add things to it, and they're like, it's so simple, you can just see that this word means that. I spoke with a Hindu the other day, it's on my channel also, and he's like, how can you misinterpret the story of Hanuman and Ganesh and all that stuff? It is so simple. The head of the elephant represents the consciousness, and Sita, Parvati or Sita, whoever the lady was, she represents Mother Earth. It's so simple. It's like we're not adding meaning to it. It's just right there. How can you misinterpret that? So I think the other religions also do the same sort of thing. Like, because blood clot or leech can be taken in as a meaning for alaka. Now you're saying, oh, leech. Oh, okay. Well, since embryo sucks the blood of the mother or takes the nutrient, that's probably what Quran was talking about. But that's not how it's written. It's written because it looked like a blood clot, and that's what it's written. But I'll give you a very quick example. Just a few, maybe 10, 15 minutes before I was talking to Hamza, Abu Shakir came in, and he was talking about how the Quran says the earth, God created everything in 6 days, and it took 2 days to make the earth and all that. And they had a lot of fun with Abu Shakir. They were laughing at him. Oh, you do see how you presuppose certain things, right? You do, and their point was, Abu Shakir said in the Quran it says 6 days, and they just jumped on him like, oh, you don't understand. The days doesn't mean days in Quran, and the day could be any period of time, because the word yom or ayam is from a day, and it could also mean a period of time or a epoch or whatever. So you don't know what so they kind of use that technique. And I was doing a stream, and Storm Pilot came in and showed me this hadith, and I was like very surprised. I was like, okay, when they were explaining it to Abu Shakir and saying, oh, day could mean yom and yom could mean a period of time, then how do you, let me see, I'm going to share the screen with you and say, how can you share screen? Okay, so you can say that the yom in Quran means whatever day, month, or whatever, or period of time, or 1 billion years or whatever, right? Then how do you reconcile that with this hadith? The hadith is from Sahih Muslim 2789, and in this hadith, it is from Abu Huraira, which is one of the most peripheral person who makes the hadith. He has a lot of hadith in Sahih Bukhari and all that. He says, Allah the Exalted and Glorious created the clay on Saturday, and He created mountains on Sunday, and He created trees on Monday, and entertaining labor on Tuesday, and created light on Wednesday. Now, in this hadith, it literally tells you days of the week. Like Saturday he created this, and Monday he created that, and Tuesday. So now, how would you fit that into the fact that you said yom could mean any period of time, right? And in that sense, it says God created things in two yom. Here he's literally describing those days that he created all these different things. So how do you reconcile that? So these are the problems. Like, sometime when you do some more research, then you realize, oh, wait a second, there's some issues with that. But anyway, um, let me take a look at some comments, and then I will go back into the stream. Share no okay, stop sharing, and I'll share the tab. Sorry guys. Okay, share. All right, let me see some of the comments, if anybody made any comments. Ha ha ha. Desinio, I love to join you if you'll have me. Yeah, let me just finish up the comments on this video, and then I'll put a link for to join. Let me see. Okay.
Lo and behold, it does if you have a microscope. So don't conflate between layers of meaning and understanding how those layers of meaning can correlate to our observed reality, whether it's naked eye or even deeper. That's the two different discussions. And so
Perfect.
the point here is we haven't added another layer of meaning just because we wanted to. No, it's in the classical dictionaries. It's a preserved language. So there is a difference, and
The meaning that you added is not in the classic dictionary. The different meanings of the word alaka, blood clot, clinging clay, those meanings are in the dictionary as from the word alaka. Now, what you're doing is you're seeing what you see in reality now, and then you're attaching those what you see in reality into the meanings that are in that Arabic language.
to be fair, I think you haven't looked at this properly because you're saying from a big picture point of view, and that generally speaking, sometimes another way of saying I have only looked into this superficially. And that's not a problem. That's not a problem. But I think it's maybe better to be authentic about it and say, you know what, Hamza Mufti Saab, you said something quite interesting. Let me basically explore this a little bit further, because the more you're probing now, the more you're just misrepresenting and conflating the act what the act
Jazakumullah khairan.
But
Thank you,
what-
thank you,
Thank you
Naseem.
very much. Thank you,
Yeah,
Hamza. Really
but-
appreciate your input on that. Yeah.
yeah, thank you. When you apply, when you take some of these principles and you apply it to the
Now,
Quran,
this is where everything went wrong. Okay, so far I'm listening to him, he's listening, he's giving me information, everything was fine, right? This is where it kind of went a little bit off. I'll tell you why.
I guarantee you, if you're sincere, you will see the Quran to be
What that is,
See, this is when I got a little bit upset. He said, "I guarantee it. If you are sincere, you will see it." I mean, that kind of bothered me because the minute somebody says that, what they do is they're putting you in into an intellectual trap. Like, if you agree with him, then you're sincere, right? According to him, if you are sincere. So obviously, if I don't agree with you and I don't see the same meaning like you are doing, it's not because the meaning is not there. It's not because what I'm saying is wrong or correct. It's because I'm being insincere when it comes to that. And that's problematic, because how would you like it if I call everybody who I meet in my discussion insincere? You are being insincere. No. How do you know if I'm being insincere or not? And you set up a trap in such a way that by default you say, if you are sincere, you will agree with me, you'll agree the Quran is the best and all that. And if you don't agree that the Quran is the best, it's not because the Quran is not the best, it's because you are being insincere. And that kind of bothered me a little bit, because nobody likes to be accused of being insincere, right? So I kind of got a little ticked off because I was giving him full respect as much, and I wasn't trapping him in any conversation or making a presupposition like, oh, if you agree with me, Hamza, you're intelligent. If you don't agree with me, you're stupid. I wouldn't say things like that. So when he said something like that, it kind of bothered me, because I was like, why are you calling me insincere without, any justification?
Hamza, that is a very
Let's
loaded
let him
question.
let him
Whenever
speak. I
somebody
think
says,
I
if
think
you're
it will
sincere,
start a
and
new
then you will
conversation.
find it, just
Please,
finish that
please.
one statement.
yeah,
I won't.
sure. I do appreciate that.
It's called poisoning the well fallacy. Okay, very well. That before you even make a statement, you poison the well. That, you know what, go ahead, listen to that guy, but guess what, you know what, but he's usually a liar anyway, but go ahead, listen to him. That's poisoning the well, because before you send that guy to listen to him, you already put it in this guy's mind that he's a liar. So now when he goes there, he has that in his brain that, oh, that guy's a liar, so why should. So he's, by saying, if you're sincere, you'll agree with me, you're poisoning the well.
But that's wasn't a question. It was a statement, and my statement of fact is, if somebody is sincere,
That's wrong. Your statement of fact, that's not your statement of fact, that's your statement of opinion. Okay, it's not a fact, it's your opinion. So the way, if you say it as my statement of fact, it's as if you're saying it is a fact. No, it is your opinion that Quran is so amazing. Not everybody thinks that.
and they apply these the kind of principles and concepts on the Quran, and allows the Quran to speak for itself. And I really believe that it's gonna hopefully penetrate the
Exactly.
heart,
You
and they're gonna.
believe that if somebody would do that, but in reality, that's not how it is. Okay, that's just your opinion. That you believe somebody, if they look at the Quran, they will be convinced. Not, it doesn't happen.
Affirm, La ilaha illallah. There is no deity worthy of worship except Allah.
Indeed.
All right.
Well, wouldn't you agree?
So you
That's a
see,
very
you
low.
kind of skipped that whole thing. I wanted to focus on that fact that you made a very loaded statement that if you're sincere, you'll agree. And that's a big thing. I wanted to bring attention to that point. But I mean, Mufti started saying something and he started saying something else. So it kind of, derailed from there.
Loaded question, very loaded statement saying that if you're sincere, because that's poisoning the well. Because
It's
obviously, if somebody
extremely
doesn't
loaded.
agree with you,
It's an intellectual nuclear bomb.
You
Absolutely.
see,
yeah,
he admits it. It's an intellectual nuclear bomb because when you throw that, you're basically either way you lose. If you agree with him, you lost your argument, and if you disagree with him, then you're insincere. So it's a intellectual nuclear bomb, and he said it.
yeah,
Can I
yeah.
can I comment on this very quickly, sir? This is sub. I know because we have spoken to one another, and I know that
Professor Bhai, just a minute.
Now, then I wanted to bring attention to that point that Hamza said, but then Kasar Raja started talking in and saying, so. Well, let me see what the comments, if any of you guys know what the loon means. Right, off to work. Bye all. Okay. All right. Let me continue.
Brother Hamza, how much time do we have?
How much time do you want from me?
All day. We're doing it, inshallah.
Okay, let's carry on. Let's carry on. Let's carry on as
Sure.
much as we can. As much as we can.
Let me know whenever you feel you need to step out.
Now, just listen to what Hamza, Kasar Raja is gonna say. This is a very typical thing that Hamza Kasar Raja does, and I think he's such a polite guy and such a nice. I like his voice. Everybody likes his voice, ASMR type of voice, and so politely with a and I love his accent, his British slash whatever accent. I don't know which. It sounds British, but it is British mixed with something. But love his accent, right? So it's not. It's like even when he's uh, lambasting, like making fun of you, it's still fun to hear it. But listen what he says.
Let me know, inshallah.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
There's a news up. We know because we've spoken to one another before, right? That you have a tendency of making this flagrant, sweeping statements. That
Okay, Mr. Raja. Well, I'm gonna try to do same thing that you're doing, and I'm gonna try to emulate you, try to copy you in a way so that we are on the same page. So you talk about me making flagrant, sweeping statements. You on your channel often make sweeping statements about mulhids. All these atheists are like that. All these mulhids are like, they have no sense. They have no integrity. All these, people. So you make sweeping statements on your own too. And at the same time, you make statement like, well, this absolutely could not happen. This is absolutely. You make sweeping statements on your channel, and here you are complaining that I kind of said that lots of religious books do the same thing that Quran does, and you're saying I'm making sweeping statements about all religious books.
all religious books are same, so on and so forth. And the thing is that I hold you above average because a number of other atheists we get from this part of the world, and they don't really have kind of an understanding that you occasionally display, which means that the standards associated with yourself ought to be higher. And when we see you making these sweeping statements, they do render a degree of disappointment. So how about this?
So, Mr. Raja, I also hold you to a much higher intellectual honesty. a level of intellectual honesty because of your academic background. And occasionally you do display a hint of fairness on your podcast and on your channel. You do display a hint of fairness in basic discourse or when you're making videos. And you also ought to understand that when I see you reduce your interlocutor, right, your person you're debating with, and make partisan and derogatory statements, displaying a level of tribalism and cognitive bias, it is extremely disappointing and disheartening to see an academic do that. When you sit on a panel with your cohorts and smile and laugh as they proceed to ridicule and lambaste the victim of their insults, and you, being an advocate for mutual respect but not condoning their behavior, gives me, you don't condone their behavior. This kind of gives them a tacit approval to these shenanigans and these tomfoolery that they do on their channels. So I'm sure your parents have raised you very well, and they have raised you to display a much more level of righteousness, a dignified behavior, and call out the insult when you see them, even if they are coming from your own quote unquote squad. But I digress. Let's just continue. I wanted to reciprocate it in the same manner that you talk.
If you believe that the Quran, you attach new meanings to it and attach new words through which we try to understand, and we keep the language flexible enough so that we can keep on adding new words, wouldn't it be much better that instead of making these sweeping statements, you can actually show us that, look, this is 1,000 years ago, and this verse had that many words explaining it, and this was 500 years ago, and so many X amount of words have been added to it, and this is 100 years ago, and you guys have been adding more words to it? Wouldn't it be more honest and wouldn't be more accurately support your claim?
I This is called a straw man. I never said that words were added into the Quran or the meaning. This is complete straw manning my position. I said that the layers of meaning that you're adding into it, that the alaka could actually mean this, and this could actually mean that, and the split asunder could actually mean that, Big Bang, and the days could actually mean period, and the period which we are talking about is the 4 billion years of the earth. Those are the layers that I was talking about, have been added by us later on, people who are adding meaning into the Quran. Not that I'm saying that, this word meant this initially, and then 100 years later this word meant something else because we added more meanings to the word, and then 1,000 years later this word actually added four more meanings into it. No. So that's a straw man. I never said that, and you're asking that question which I never even posited.
Yes, Mr. Kaisar Saab, like if you're talking about sweeping statement, I'm sure just like you accuse me of sweeping statement, you should accuse Hamza also of sweeping statement of saying, if you're sincere, kind of sweeping the whole genre. It's like anybody who doesn't agree with that, what you said, is by default not sincere. So isn't that a sweeping statement in itself?
So, answer to my very specific.
So now Hamza sees that, okay, yeah, I said that. And guess what happens? When I ask him, is this a sweeping statement or not? Guess what will happen? Kasser Raja will say no, and Hamza will say yes.
Specific question, your approach is, hey, I'm wrong, but I think Hamza is also wrong.
No, no, no.
Is
I
that what we're
asked you
getting at?
because you accused me of a sweeping statement. I'm saying if I'm making a sweeping statement and you pointed that out to me, how come you don't point it out to Hamza saying he made a sweeping statement that anybody who doesn't agree is probably not sincere? So isn't that a sweeping statement?
No, it
Yeah.
isn't. And I'd
Well,
ask,
well,
See, he said no, no, and Hamza says yes, yes. Well, and now Hamza is gonna go a little, go further to explain. Now, notice he's gonna say, I'm not gonna psychoanalyze you, and then after saying that one sentence, he proceeds to psychoanalyze me.
I can ask
why
Brother
why
Hamza
does
to.
it why look, it was like an embellishment to, like, put a bow.
And same way me.
He said, oh, it was just an embellishment. So then me saying all the religious texts are the same is also embellishment.
This embellishing of
Your
all
bow
religion, of
on the
course, I don't
intellect
make it like
present
that.
I
So
was giving you.
exactly,
Saying,
I'm saying
why does it bother you so much that I embellish?
Yes, he's like, why does it bother you so much? Wouldn't it bother you somebody calling you insincere? It would bother you too. As a person with integrity, if somebody's calling you insincere, it would bother me, and that's why it bothered me. Nothing to do with anything else. But now he's gonna use that, like, as if me getting upset about you calling me insincere is somehow related to my insecurity or something wrong with my brain. Why did I get upset because of this thing? So he's turning it around on me, saying, I called you insincere. Why are you getting upset because I called you insincere? What?
Embellished the end of our conversation with that. Is there something psychologically inside you that's really upsetting? Is it because maybe you think you're insincere? Maybe stand in the
no. The reason
possibility.
is because Mr.
What are
Raja
you
and
Just
me,
hold
by
a
that
second.
psychologically?
if I
Think
can
about it,
answer,
Daisy Neil. I just want
yeah.
just think of it from a psychological perspective, right?
Think
Just
of it as a psychology. I'm not going to psychoanalyze you, but I'm going to psychoanalyze you.
like the one who thought that God was arrogant, right? And it's really a projection of himself. I'm not trying to psychoanalyze you, but think about this. It was obvious an end statement embellishment, just to put a little nice bow on the intellectual present I was trying to give you. Why has it triggered you slightly? Is it because maybe you should stand in the possibility that you are not sincere because
Wow. Wow. So you call me insincere, and I'm a little bit upset. Why are you calling me insincere? And you're like, haha, since you're upset that I called you insincere, that's why you're insincere. Maybe you are getting upset because you are insincere. How does that even follow? I mean, really? Seriously, Hamza?
you came to this discussion with sweeping statements, and you came to this discussion by not being nuanced enough, and at the end you admitted, thank you for that, I'm going to go and do further research. So
No, I said, thank you, Hamza, for your input. And I was going to proceed on to take your points that you said and give a rebuttal to that. But Mufti never made me let me continue. So I said, Hamza, thank you for your input. I really appreciate it, because I do. You're a academic. Kaisar Ahmad Raja is an academic, and I love getting input and information from people like you who are high caliber people. So me saying thank you doesn't mean I tacitly, agreed that I lost something or my points were not valid. So
don't use it now as an argument against Kaiser. Take him on his own grounds. Yes, for argument's sake, it was a sweeping statement. I'm sorry, but it doesn't negate everything
so it was a sweeping statement, and Hamza and Kaisar Raja is like, no, it wasn't a sweeping statement.
else that I've said. But
I
think about it
didn't
from a
say it, negate it.
think about it from a psychological perspective.
And I'm not gonna psychoanalyze you, Desinio, but I'm gonna psychoanalyze you.
I'd be
So,
so triggered. Is it
so
because
Hamza,
there is
so
something else that's
let me
going
ask
on?
you a question. So you're saying I'm
I
not
think
gonna
that was your last
psychoanalyze?
question earlier. Desi knew.
Oh,
I think you got enough
oh,
content
okay,
for your next
okay,
stream.
okay.
Now, this is what Mufti always does with me. Whenever like the conversation is going and he wants to stop my conversation, he always brings in, well, you know what? You have enough content for your channel now. Now you can go. What is it with you people with the content and channel and all that stuff? Just have a conversation. And if you want me to stop, say, hey, Desinio, that's enough. I don't, enough. We need to bring other people in. Why is this always this ad hominem type of attacks on the person instead of the argument? I don't attack people. I don't attack Mufti as being Mufti, you this and you probably are. No, attack the argument, attack the points that I'm making. And if you don't want to talk about it, and if you want to be like, okay, yeah, that's enough, let's move on, just say it. Hey, it's enough with the conversation. I need to move on. I would do the same. Why is this always this animosity towards the person? Like, with Kasaraja, oh, you ought to do this. I expect better from you. What is all this like personal situation going on? Talk about the points that I'm making. Talk about the argument. Don't talk about the person. I could be the worst person in the world, but if I'm making a proper argument, address the argument.
No, it's not for the stream. As you know, these are not my bread and butter, so these are just a hobby for me. So it's not even a thing.
I know that.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is the fact that you said I'm not going to make that.
Last question. Come on, you asked your last question, and it was.
Can I not respond to what Hamza said? Am I allowed?
You always make follow-up videos on your channel, right? I guess you can do it.
No. I make a reaction video if I.
Which what I'm doing, because in that channel, since he's saying you need to go, and I can't clarify my points, then I make a reaction video like this to explain what my points were.
Just like if I have a conversation with you, since we only have limited time.
Anything against you, this in you, but there are a lot of people in line, so we have to give.
I totally agree. Thank you, Hamza. I'm not going to respond to anything that you said. It's your platform.
At this point, I understood like they don't want to continue this conversation and there were other people waiting. Fine. I wanted to respond to what Hamza said about me and psychoanalyzing me. I wanted to respond to Kasser Raja and how he basically strawmanned my position. But since you don't have enough time on these channels to really have a long discussion, I took my leave.
And I know a lot of people are waiting. I'll take my leave. Hamza, I really appreciate all your effort. Mr. Kasser Saab, I would love for you to come to my channel so we could have a very friendly discussion. As on Facebook and Messenger, you told me that you will come, but you haven't responded to me. I'm waiting. Anytime you're welcome to come and we can have a friendly chat. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Desini. Thank you. All right.
Now, I mean, I left at this point. This should have been end, but I'm just going to play a little bit further to this is what I do. Like once the person leaves, then they talk about that person once he goes, and then that's kind of rude, right? Like talking about the person when they leave, and listen to what they say.
Basalat Adam, aap kuch kehna chahenge, and after you, a skeptic.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Great. Assalamu alaikum to the whole panel. Or Hamza bhai, how are you doing?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
So, Hamza bhai, first of all, thank you for being part of this amazing discussion. And after being, I saw that after being part of this wonderful discussion, you may have now, you now may have a good idea what kind of narcissism we have been dealing with.
Now, see, Basalat, you got a better idea of what sort of narcissism we are dealing with. So basically, whatever he's dealing with is narcissism. Okay, notice this point. He's saying the people who are talking on this stream, coming and talking to you, they are narcissists. Okay,
from subcontinent when it comes to rude interruptions in the civilized discussion. I mean, I'm sad to say this, but that doesn't even happen on Speaker's Corner. So I would like to welcome you to our academic Aikido club.
Yeah. No, I think it's been good. I mean, I don't think anyone's been necessarily rude. I do think the detractions that have been regurgitated from maybe other platforms.
Well, there are two things.
Now, notice what Kasser Ahmad Raja says now. It is very disheartening to hear these statements from him. First, because Basalat Adam is calling other people narcissists, and what he's talking about, doesn't that sound narcissist to you? He's saying, listen to what he says.
Sorry, Basalat, I'm just barging in just like that. Well, two things here, Brother Hamza.
Yes.
Number one is the behavioral thing, and I have to accept that today it has been considerably better. And you probably can guess that if this was better, then what the standard looks like. And the second thing is that we don't really expect, or at least I don't expect that this conversation is going to add anything to your knowledge, because
I don't expect this conversation will add anything to your knowledge. What does that mean? Is that narcissist or what? Is as if your intellect and your knowledge and your level of intelligence is so high that nobody who can come on your channel can add anything to you, huh? Am I being narcissist, or is that statement a very narcissistic statement?
Because what we have here is the copy-paste version of the arguments that you probably have dealt with 15 years ago, 10 years ago. So it's nothing novel there. The only thing,
if the arguments are copy and paste from 15 years ago and you haven't, I mean, they keep popping up, what that means is you have not answered the arguments. You have not answered it satisfactorily. That's why those issues keep coming up. When certain questions and doubts come in or questions come in and they're answered properly and definitively, those answers are satisfactory to the other person, and then those doubts and questions don't pop up again. Have you thought why these questions keep coming up, keep coming up? The reason they keep coming up is the answers from your side are insufficient to convince anybody. They only convince people who are already convinced in their mind that these are the correct answer. So maybe that might be the reason why these same questions, same arguments, same doubts keep coming up for 15 years, like you said.
thing is that there's a lot of, it's just a watered down version of it. It's literally just reading something and not understanding what it means and then saying, there we go, I'm just going to kill Islam because I've read something on Wikipedia.
Straw manning the other ad hominem attack, like, oh, these people are just you like nothing. They don't bring any solid arguments. They don't have any proper things to bring to the table. You will not learn anything from them. There's just watered down version. What is all this stuff? I mean, I don't understand. I thought you're an academic.
We expect that you are going to increase a lot to our knowledge, but I'm afraid we cannot reciprocate at any meaningful way because this is what we get here.
Oh, so we cannot add to your knowledge because you can add to our knowledge, but we cannot add anything to knowledge. Why? Can you fill a cup that's full? No, right? Cup has to have some space, emptiness for it to be filled. So if you're already assuming that he knows everything and nothing that you can tell him can add to his knowledge, then what's the point? So that means he knows everything. He's on the pinnacle of intelligence. A humble person, an academic, first thing they'd say is, I don't know everything. I learn from everybody. I myself don't know a lot, and I learn from Hamza, and I learn from Kasser, I learn from Mufti Saab every single time I listen to them. And that is going to happen regardless, because there's always something new I can learn. But somehow you think that nothing that we say can add to the knowledge of Mr. Hamza. Who's being a narcissist over here?
So don't expect anything deeper or substantive. It's the same thing you have been dealing with.
I mean, I think
don't expect anything deeper and substantive. These guys are like nothing. Their questions, their comments, their arguments are nothing. They can add anything to you. So you know why? This is why. Anyway, I'm not gonna say anything. This is long enough. I'm gonna shut down the video right here. Enough.
it's good.
All right, that was my review of this conversation I had on Mufti's channel. What do you guys think? Was I wrong for the things that I was saying? Did I strawman their position? Did I make anything? Or maybe I did. I don't know. That's why I put this out to the people and say, hey, show me, point out the places where I'm wrong and I can fix my thing. I like to have a conversation that is on a very friendly manner, an intellectual manner. I don't like calling out people. I don't like abusing people, name calling, all of that stuff, derogatory things directly to the person. The person is this or a person is that. No, to me, everybody is respectable as long as they carry themselves respectably and deal with me in a proper way. I will deal with them in a respectable way. And I do not like ad hominems, So if anybody wants to come in, let me know. I can share the link. Maybe we can do a quick chat here and there. Let me see if I can add the link. Probably middle of the morning or something in India and Pakistan. So I don't expect too many people from that side coming in at this time. But I just wanted to put this second part video out there just so it's finished, part one and part two. And that's it. But like I said, I want to have my channel as a very respectable channel. I don't want to call out people. I don't want to lambast people, especially their personality. I don't want to go after personality. I want to go after arguments and ideas and philosophies. The person could be whatever, doesn't matter. Do not attack the person. Always attack the idea, or deal with the idea. Don't deal with the person. Okay, we have a couple of people. We have Born Agnostic and Shazzy. How are you guys?
Good morning to you, the NEOG.
Good morning. How are you?
Good,
I'm
yourself?
fine.
And Shazi?
Yeah, Shazi. I'm also good. How about you, Neo?
I'm doing excellent. There was another gentleman who was saying some things in the chat that I would like to talk to you and all that, Mr. D or
I think
something
it
like.
was Ray, the producer.
No, Ray. He's there. He said he's gonna come in, but Mr. D, something like this guy. Show. I know. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. Yep. So he was saying that he would like to talk. So I said I'll share the link with you. Oh yeah, this. I don't know if it's going. Give me. I will challenge you. So I said, okay, come on in. We can talk. That's not a problem. But I don't know where he's at now. Anyway, go ahead, Born Agnostic guy.
मैं NEOG मैं वही बात कर रहा था जब ये एकेडमिक
it's an English stream, so
जी
we'll do it in English.
I will try, but my hand is
Yeah, it's okay.
little tight in
Whatever.
English.
Just basic English, doesn't matter.
I want to point out two things. Two words really pop up in the debates with religious people. One is akida, and the other is metaphorical things.
Right.
So I want to debunk these two things. Akida is such a stupid thing. It's like believing in something without the evidence. It's really stupid thing. If today I start to say I believe in red monkey, sorry, red monkey might be real god. Some arbitrary god.
Pink elephant.
Pink elephant. I start believing pink elephant, and I say I don't have evidence for it. You will say you are really stupid person. You will call me stupid. And religious people use this akida word like it's some badge of this is some badge of honor. This is our akida. To me, it looks really stupid. And another thing I was pointing out at metaphorical thing. I watched this Hamza person's debate with Parvez Hoodboy. It was really good debate. And one thing really popped out in that debate, that you can't prove metaphorical thing. Like that some Farid Respond guy also talks about it. The prostrating son under the Allah's throne is a metaphorical thing.
The famous thing he always says, this is a metaphysical matter.
Yes. So this is also very stupid thing, because there are some claims done by religion which actually interact with material things. For example, this claim that dua works, or if you say inshallah before doing something, if you say inshallah before doing some thing, the probability of that thing happening in your favor increases. It's their claim. For example,
it is all of those things are connected to akida, and akida basically, in other words, is just faith. Like you could use the word akida, which is Arabic, but in English, in basic terms, basically what it is faith. I have faith that this, and faith is like in Christian. If you ask a Christian what is faith, is like faith is things believed without evidence. Things accepted without evidence. So There are certain things in Christianity they just believe without evidence. They just believe it. Same thing with Islam. There's a certain thing they just believe out of the fact that they just believe it, and they use it as a badge of honor that, oh, I believe and I have a belief in something like that. But i I agree with you. It's not actually a badge of honor. It is kind of opposite to that. You're saying that I believe things without any reason. I believe things without any proof or evidence, and that is a great thing for me. No, it is not. It's actually kind of shows that you're not being rational, you're not being intellectually honest. You're just believing it because you want to believe it, not based on any actual evidence.
Yes, the nuance I was pointing out there is you can actually prove metaphorical things also. If, for example, if there is an heart surgery of some person, and doctor says, Inshallah, this surgery will go good. So, will it improve chances of this surgery going well? So you can do an practical experiment with suppose 1,000 people. You say inshallah to 500 patients, and you don't say inshallah to another 500 patients, and you can simply compare the result.
Yeah, but
And you can
you could compare the result, but the problem with that result is that it's also based on faith. So if the result comes in that by saying inshallah it didn't really increase the chances, you know what the answer from the moment will be? Well, this is something that Allah wanted, and it is our aqidah that this was all Allah's plan anyway. So it doesn't matter if the results didn't come in according to us, because when it comes to aqidah, rationality or logic is not being used. It's just a belief. So you can't win from Akida, because even if you say, well, let's do this experiment and then let's do 500 people, you say, inshallah, 500. Let's say the results come in that from the 500 people, 60% people who didn't say inshallah, their results came out better. And the 40% people who said inshallah, their results didn't come in. So basically, without saying inshallah, the results were good. What will the moment say? Moment say, well, guess what? That was Allah's plan after all. He wanted to show it that way. And it is our belief that Allah wanted to happen this way. So how can you win from something that has, something asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. So that's
yes,
basically what it is.
yes, but
Yeah, let me give
just
Shazi,
last statement.
let me give Shazi a chance, and then because he hasn't said anything, go ahead, Shazi.
Yep. So first of all, hats off, Desinio. The way you face these people so calmly, and in spite of the fact that in return they respond you in rudely manner, that's awesome. Like the way you keep your calm. Uh, Another thing I would like to add is that I've noticed all of these people, they are a bit arrogant from inside. And they just think inside of their own limiting beliefs. They don't even consider the other's possibility, like the way you were doing an analysis before. Like at first, they just said that you cannot even add value to their knowledge or to their depth, right? So if you go with that mindset, I don't think you can be convinced to any other thing. So you just believe whatever you believe. Uh, One more thing is that I've noticed that Kaisar Ahmed Raja sometimes uses these mental techniques to overcome his opponent. So his purpose is to just overcome the opponent, not to just think logically and accept what the other person is saying, but just to overcome him. And he himself claims to be an NLP expert. And NLP, let me tell you about it. It was created by Richard Bandler, and who himself was against all the religious people and religions, because he thinks that it imposes limiting belief on people. And one of the core principles of NLP is to get rid of limiting beliefs from all the people. So that's all I would like to say.
Okay, great. I know he does that with the mental thing of ML. What do you call it? MLB?
NLP.
NLP. Okay. Yeah. I think that's his other part of the profession. He does that as a professional thing, and this this is his dawa side where he does that. But I'm not too familiar with that aspect of it. I guess I'll read more into it. Ray, the producer, how are you?
Desinio, I'm well. Congratulations on 4,000 subscribers.
Oh,
That
yes,
is
yes, yes.
amazing.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's so funny. It's like you don't understand. I've been stuck at 3,950 for months. It's so annoying to just see your number at 3,950 for months on end. And I was like, what is going on? Like, and it would go up 1% at a time, or 2% at a day,
Hmm.
and then it would go to 75, and then it would come back to 60, it would go to 78, it would come back. I was like, what is finally goes past 4,000. I was like, man, I was like, finally.
Well, look, you did it the old-fashioned way. You did it with, through hard work and integrity, and that means a lot more than 40,000, because the people that subscribe to you, me included, do so because we love you and because we respect you and because we think that you actually are doing something different. So take that, for what it
No,
is.
no,
It's
definitely appreciate all everybody. It's not that it was any accomplishment or I wanted. It was just bothering me a lot. Why
Oh, I
is it
know.
stuck at 39, 50?
I know.
You know?
I know.
Yeah.
I'm stuck at 2,980. So I'm like,
Oh,
what
see, you
the,
know how it feels.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
wanted to say a couple of things. Again, take my feedback with a grain of salt. The point is, you are amazing. You, Gulzar, you are the two people that go and engage with these people. And I love you. I love Gulzar. Gulzar was the first person to actually interview me. So I'm always going to love you guys. Here's what I want to say. Okay. What and I talked to Harris about this as well. I talked to Harris. I talked to Ghalib. I'm on Zafar every other week. We're doing Alu and Day debate shows, right? Here's what I'm going to say. These people bring up evolution. They bring up. Sorry, Destiny, were you going to say something?
No, I was gonna say, don't get personal with people. Just talk about the ideas, not personally to that person or this person.
Dude,
Just like
come on.
in a general
When
sense, because I like
when
to.
have
I
when
like.
have I gotten personal with anyone? Come on. You know me.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I literally did a rap song, and it was the mildest rap ever. Okay, I could have done anything.
Oh yeah.
That's what these people don't realize, right? I could have done anything. I could have done animation. I could have done anything, but I didn't. You know why? Because I feel like, um, you know, the truth is, I forget who says it, but I think it was Baltasar Gracian who said that the truth is seen, but seldom heard. So
Hmm.
the truth is out there for people. So oftentimes it's better to be kind of indirect. But anyway, here's what I want to say. I feel like these people, Daniel Hakika Pikachu and these other dudes, they get us. They trip us up. Evolution. Well, you don't know evolution, and you don't understand how that works. And the Big Bang Theory, and with Horace, Pikachu was talking about fertility rates, right? So here's the thing, all right. And this is an English stream, so I can say bullshit because that's not a bad word in English.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's the bullshit part. Daniel Hakika Pikachu talks about fertility rates. Orthodox Jews say have a lot of babies. Orthodox Christians say have a lot of babies. Orthodox Hindus say have a lot of babies. Mormons say have a lot of babies. All Orthodox people, Christianity, all the different sects, the Quakers and the Shakers and the Bakers and the candlestick makers, all of these people say the same thing. So how is Islam any different? My point is, we need not get bogged down in the minutia, in the bullshit. All we need to say is, okay, great. Islamic history, we don't care. Your hadith means nothing. Tell us, how is it that there was a man aged 40 who went into a cave, an angel who was the size of Wisconsin somehow managed to squeeze into that cave and squeeze this man, this Muhammad, and say, "Iqra bismi rabbika allazi khalaq." That's all we need to ask him. Because
Brother, it's a metaphysical matter. It's a
metaphysical,
metaphysical matter.
metaphysical. Okay, first of all, that schmuck, whatever his name was, it's
But he's gone.
metaphorical.
Yeah,
Thank you,
read
sir.
this. Yeah.
It's metaphorical. But that's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to say that we just need to just focus on the fact that it took God, Allah, the creator of the universe, until the 7th century, and this Allah only speaks Arabic. My friend's 12-year-old daughter speaks 3 languages, but Allah could only speak 1. That's all we just got to push back and say, why is this real? How do you prove this? Because we start getting into their fables and their stories and Tarikh Tabri and all of this other stuff. That's where they trip you up. But the fact is, they don't have a leg to stand on. But that's all I wanted to say, and I wanted to congratulate you again on a hard-earned, honest 4,000 subscribers. I think it's worth a lot. No,
Thanks a
seriously,
lot.
man.
Thanks a lot.
It's
Appreciate it, man.
it's
Appreciate it. And
because, dude, you did it with your integrity, and you did it one day at a time, and you did it. You didn't pander. You didn't say, oh, I'm gonna jump on this bandwagon or that bandwagon. So I really appreciate it, and I wish you all the best. And here's to 10,000 subscribers, man.
all right. Thanks a lot, man. Ray, you're the best. Thank you very much. And Born Agnostic, if anything else you want to
Yes,
say before I
yes,
close the stream?
yes.
Oh,
I will complete my statement. First of all, I watched your debate with Hamza on, I think, Kaisar's or Yasir Ahmed's channel, Mufti Yasir channel. So in that debate, I saw Kaisar Raja actually approved of you. He said you are above average. In actually, what he meant to say was you are really good at this philosophical thing. Actually, you got his approval, but he couldn't say in front of all the public, so he used the word above average. I think he approved of you. And other thing I was pointing my earlier point, that religious people hide behind 2 things. One is akida, and another is there is metaphorical thing. So I first point I told, akida is a really stupid thing that we all agree on. And as a metaphorical thing, you can't also hide behind metaphoric, because metaphorical thing has to interact with material worlds, and you have an onus is on religious people to prove that how it interacts. That was my 2 points. Thank you.
okay. Thank you very much. And yeah, I mean, you made your points, and absolutely, Akida and metaphorical. This is what we talk about all the time, and you, it's one of those things that the minute it goes into Akida and the minute it goes to metaphorical and magical and all that, then there's nothing you can talk about, because the minute you say it was a miracle, finish. Now the discussion is over. What else can you say after that? You can't say anything. Oh, how did the moon split? Well, it was a miracle. Boom, finish. Like, there's no conversation that can continue after that, because the minute you say it was a miracle, now there's no explanation, no nothing, and anything is possible. Oh, how did Muhammad fly to the whatever sky? Miracle. How did this happen? Miracle. How did the sea part? Miracle. How did the stick change into a snake? Miracle. So it's just so, I mean, it is frustrating, because in today's day and age, we still believe in magics and fairies and all that, and people actually take it serious that yes, these things are there. And when you ask them for even a single proof, they cannot provide a single proof or evidence of these things. But believe them, they still believe them with all their heart. So I don't know what to say. But anyway, thank you, Born Agnostic.
Yes.
And I think there's nobody else in the backstage. If anybody else wants to come in, they can come in. I'll go on for maybe 1 minute and then I will close the stream. But anyway, in closing, it was a good conversation. I learned a lot from Hamza. I learned a lot from Kaisar Raja and Mufti Yasir, and I enjoy the conversation. I like that type of conversation, respectable, no name calling, and all that stuff. Did I increase any of their knowledge? I don't know, but they definitely increase my knowledge all the time. So we have Rustam Shah, our favorite pink elephant. I think you came because you heard me say pink elephant. I think
Yes,
that's
I
why.
knew that. I knew that. I couldn't stand
This was a
the
magical thing.
way.
The minute I said pink elephant, all of a sudden
Yeah,
Rustam Shah
yeah.
appears.
Somebody has to defend that. You
Yeah,
just
yeah.
you can't let you just do this your so-called blue elephant nonsense.
Oh my God.
Okay, I don't know.
Go
Are
ahead.
you
Go ahead. Go ahead.
closing in? So I just want to say something I heard recently. I know you go and speak with these people,
They,
Kasser.
Rustam Shah, you're because of you. See what happens now. Shahid is here, and 4G serial is also here. I was just about
Wow.
1 minute away from closing.
Hey, I was actually walking and working at the moment. So I'm on a telephone. I heard I heard Ray, the producer, was there. If he could join for 1 minute, I have one question for all of you guys because I heard something and I want your opinion about it. Ray, if you are listening, can you please join in? You know what happened? These guys, Islamic Awakening. Now I know you sometime go and speak with them, and
No, no, no. I went long time ago, maybe 4 months, 3, 4 months ago, and I did not have a very pleasant experience. So after that, they called me a gustakh, and then they kicked me out of their stream. So I haven't gone back after that.
very good decision because you know what happened recently. I was on Zafar Heretic's show, and one of these guys, the Ali Raza, he's so-called defending for some kind of a apostasy, anti-apostasy group or something. So I don't know. I never
Oh,
went there.
anti-apostasy squad, man. That's all the rage right now. There's a whole group over there. Everybody's together. They're doing this apostasy things, man. Where have you been?
Yeah, well, I knew from the start that these guys are not defending. They're actually strong Islam. But anyway, hey, for and Shahid, hello. How are you? Sorry, I forgot that. So these guys came. One of the guy came on this Zafar Heretic show, and the moment he came inside the show or start talking, I knew that something is wrong because he was pissed, and he was we are this, or you invited us. Please answer this question. Please answer this question. I said, hey, calm down, man, calm down. So anyway, there was a kind of a 5-minute discussion or 10-minute discussion, but he wasn't pleasant, or Zafar had to remove him from the show, and totally his own fault. The guy was a nuts case. So they made a video afterwards, just like you do. Sometime you go, you speak with them, and then you make a review video of your interaction with these guys. So they made same thing, and it's on their channel right now, where they were criticizing that the Zafar Heretic is this and these people are that, blah blah blah, all nonsense, no problem. But somewhere in between they said, well, you should be careful, you should be happy that there is no Islamic Sharia at the moment, because once there's Islamic Sharia and we support that, you guys will be stoned to death, or we will chop the head of Ray the producer, and we will stone to death Zafar Heretic. These kinds of people openly threatening and or threatening for violence or something like that. I mean, I wonder sometimes, because I think the Ray was right. I just heard him saying, we go and we trip sometimes because these guys drag you in a situation for something which is totally unnecessary. I mean, what does it mean that if Muhammad said something about something nice about someone, or Muhammad did this and that it means nothing to me, because for me, if Islam is wrong, I have to talk about the how does it prove that Islam is the truth? Because these guys come and talk to you and say, okay, let's talk about evolution, for example, as he mentioned earlier. Fine, evolution and Islam, two very different things. They engage you in evolution, but have you ever asked them, okay, if the evolution is wrong, no problem. For the sake of argument, we can say, okay, evolution is wrong. What about Islamic evolution? They will tell you, well, yeah, the Adam was born and Hawa was created from his rib, and that's all. I mean, how does it make Islam better for somehow? But we are debating these guys for things which are, I'd say, totally unnecessary. We go and talk with them on their so-called theology, which in reality doesn't exist, to be honest with you. You know, what we are talking about, Allah. What is Allah? Oh, we don't know that. But we are engaging with these people, discussing things which may not have any relevance at all. I mean, we forget sometimes to talk to them. Hey, just prove that. How is that equal with for example, with the realities in the world? What it has to do with the evolution on the ground, which we see and which we have evidence for that. I mean, so it's a bit confusing, I would say. So we should engage them in the real terms. We say, okay, I agree. I heard what you say, but just prove me that how does it affect the reality, my reality? Where is Allah? I can't see Allah. There is no way. And then you go and engage with them in a subject which is pure philosophy. We discuss with them, and in the end, the results, I don't know. So I'm sorry for my rant. You may not understand.
I got your rant, but I'm still stuck. I'm still stuck on what you said initially about if that guy came in and said that, oh, even if you should be happy that there's no Islamic Khilafah, because if there was Khilafah, we'll chop your head off and stone you. I mean, just the reason that thing, I'm still stuck on that. We take it so lightly that the person that we are talking to on the other side, for the Islamic channels, literally would kill you if this was a Islamic State right now. I mean, just think about this. How crazy is this? That you are sitting and you're talking to a person, and you know that person believes that you should be killed for your views, and it's completely normal. Like, you know, like the what's his name, Ali Dawa, and we're proud of that. Like, you know, oh, in an Islamic State, you will be killed, and we're proud of. I mean, it's bizarre to think that these people are sitting and talking to you, and these people would have no problem if you were killed and your head was chopped off. And they have no problem with that, just because of their belief system.
And that's why I say, and then I say sometimes it's totally irrelevant, or for me, it's a waste of time, because I'm talking or discussing with a person who actually in reality thinks, well, how bad that we are not living in Sharia, because he is actually talking to you, wasting your time. But in reality, he's thinking, why this guy is still alive? Why there is no Sharia?
And do you understand how crazy that is?
I mean, if I'm talking to you, because I'm literally, sometimes I discuss things with you, and I really hope that you will teach me something, or I will get something from you, or otherwise vice versa. But if I knew for the moment that Desi New is only there to get me, and he is just, wasting the time, and he's just engaging me on a discussion which is irrelevant for me now, because these guys are nuts.
Yeah, think about it, Rustam. If I'm sitting over here and you're talking to me, and if you know that, you know what, I believe that you should be killed right now, what sort of respect are you going to have for me? If you literally are talking to me and you are like, this guy actually thinks I should be killed, like not any joke way, but in reality, if there was an Islamic State, this guy will be killed, and we are okay with that.
Stoned to that, not only killed, but torture. I mean, look at that sickness of their mind. They should first.
I don't understand that. I mean, I could I can never imagine me sitting or talking to somebody and me genuinely be okay with that person being stoned to that. Do you understand? Like, I would personally would never be okay with some accepting that there is a system in which I don't like his belief system. I don't like what he says. Because of that, he does not have a right to live.
Yeah.
I can't believe that.
Yeah, and I've apologies because I was actually doing two things together. I have some files in my hand, so I was looking and talking with you. So I was maybe not clear.
Yeah.
It was my rant, but the point was that I like you because, like Ray said earlier, that you had congratulations, by the way, for 4,000 subs,
All
and
right.
I wish you 10,000 really soon.
Yep.
But the thing is that you did this with, you spend a lot of time and energies. Even sometimes you're doing so many other things, but okay, I have to come because I have to discuss this thing, and you really feel passionate about this thing. You really think that, okay, this is my opinion, and I think these people should know because
And
they're making a big
Rustam,
mistake.
I put my money where my mouth is. I do this out of passion. I do this out of my own thing because I like to do this and I like to help people who have questions. I've
Exactly.
at my 4,000, I told everybody I'm gonna shut down monetization. I literally shut down monetization. There is no super chat on my channel. There's no super stickers, nothing. I'm
Yeah.
just doing it purely for passion. Like I
Yeah.
want to do this. I want to help people. I want to help people answer the question and move the discussion forward. But I mean, I'm just
So,
like,
so
yeah,
that's why sometimes I really feel, because I also think sometimes, okay, I want to tell you something. I don't think so. These guys are genuine with you, but then I say, okay, this is his own decision. But really, sometimes when I see you discussing with these people, I said, hey, come on, man. Desi Neo is really wasting his calories with these guys, because these guys in reality wants to kill Desi Neo. If you ever met these guys, and Desi Neo is trying to, hey, come on, you are really an angel when
it
I
is
discuss this,
bizarre.
man.
No, seriously, Rostam, it is bizarre to think that, like I'm talking to this gentleman and he's so normally talking to me, but
Yeah.
I know that he believes, according to his religion, that I don't have a right to my life because I left Islam. Like,
Yeah.
it's bizarre to think that way. But anyway,
Well, you're
let
using
me
pretty,
give
yes.
4G Serial a chance to say something. Go ahead, 4G.
Hey
4G,
guys,
yeah.
yeah, sorry, I had difficulty finding the unmute button as usual. Um,
Well, you are a
15
forger.
year,
Come on, man.
yeah, I'm not talking about trigger or my trigger finger.
Okay.
That's totally different. That's
Okay.
totally different.
Good to know.
15-year-old arguments, time and again. Have you ever seen a university professor telling his friends or somebody that it's been 15 years, I get the same arguments, same questions from students for the last 15 years, and he complains and moans about it? No, that's what the process of teaching is. For the last 15 years, this gentleman claims that he has been getting the same questions. For the last 15 years, what has he done about it? Nothing. Zero. Nada. Zilch. And then he complains and moans. What does it tells us? It tells us that this gentleman, or his, all his goons and his gang, also known as squad, just look at the mentality. Instead of calling it a university or a classroom, they call it a squad. So what does it show? To us, it shows complete superiority complex, also known as narcissist behavior. They these people, um, in fact all religious people, but specifically Islamic religious people, they are cornered. They are absolutely cornered in this day and age. They are getting hammered left, right, and center, and from top and below also. And that's why they are lashing out, because it's a simple fact that they don't have any logical answers to that make sense. And just like their the simple solution to their problem, or the challenge that they have, is is the simple solution that Rasulullah had. Superiority complex, narcissist behavior. Get rid of everybody else. Your thoughts, Daisy, and Shaji, you too.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, and it is kind of interesting to see that since the times are different. Like imagine at that time, at the time of Medina, you know how it would be. Like you can't say anything against the prophet, because you would be
Well,
just taking
actually, yeah,
getting
it
rid of.
happened. I think what is happening actually for this year is that before, at least for 10 or 15 years ago, even that time, people generally refrained themselves criticizing Islam because of the fear of attacks or to be killed simply. But nowadays, because of the internet and anonymity on internet, sometimes it is possible that you cannot stop nowadays. So I think these guys, apostasy gang or Casa Raja,
Excuse me. It is called apostasy squad. All right, come on. Okay,
gang.
yeah.
Anyway, so a squad. So these guys think, okay, what is happening? Because they generally usually think that okay, they are divinely sanctioned to do this job. So they think they have some kind of moral responsibility. Plus, there are some kind of moral support coming from divine, from the Allah or
It's
God or
called
whatever.
Jannah points. They're looking for
Yes.
Jannah points. And
So what happened?
yeah.
So they really think that because this Indians they think so something will happen to this India even if we can do him, but Allah will get him or blah blah blah. Now, but what was actually happening is opposite. Now they think okay, there was only few guys on the internet before, no problem, we could tackle them. But now all of a sudden there are more and more people coming out and speaking against them and speaking against their brutality and nonsense, to be honest with you, and they can't do anything about it. And this is the frustration, I think, because like I said 2 days ago, I just heard him saying, okay, I'm here. I mean, the arrogance and the anger in his voice immediately turned me off. I was like, okay, is this the guy from? Because I recognized him from his voice that he's from of these guys who are doing this apostasy thing. So, okay, this will be fun. And right on top, in next 5 minutes, you knew what he was saying. He was so arrogant as he's talking with someone who's like Demi. Oh, who are you guys? No, apostates. Yeah. Hi, I'm here because I am here because you invited me, and I'm gonna trash you guys because you are opposing Islam. How dare you? I mean, this kind of mentality. And of course, after 5 minutes, because of his behavior, we had to kick him out. And then he went outside. He made an extra 3 hours video exactly, and I was like, okay. And the very first thing he said, these guys were talking of humanity. Let me show you what is the real humanity. You watch this, there is a video on his channel, Islamic Awakening, and it's still there. And 1 hour and 26, 27, listen to this particular part, and you will say, oh, you guys are lucky. Hamara bhi, okay, he was talking a little, but he was basically saying that you talk about Islam as a barbaric religion, but okay, you talk about the laws, but there is a law in Islam too, and you should be careful because in Islam, if there was a Sharia, we will stone you to death, Mr. For heretic. And then he spoke because the video was up on the screen, so he talked about the radio producer who was sitting in a white t-shirt, and this kind of white t-shirt, we will probably chop his head. Yeah, because of his activities. What activities? He's just criticizing Islam. And then goes on ranting, blah, blah, blah. So what I'm trying to say is, sometime when you go there, literally think about, ask them, hey, you are speaking with me nicely, thank you very much, but are you really talking with me nicely? Or are you just pretending to be nice? Because I think in reality, if we are sitting in an Islamic country with Islamic Sharia, and when you guys have more power, you will probably stone to death. You will kill me or chop my hair off. So why should we, natural? Because you go really. This is new. My motto, I think I told you many times. My motto is to calories ko izzat do. I think I spoke this couple of times because you really go there. You do it passionately.
No, I actually used to go to Islamic Awakening before. Now I never go there anymore because their level of conversation is just like low quality, so I don't really enjoy it anymore. That's what there are certain channels for the Islamic channels I don't really go, like Mufti Munafik channel, I don't go there. Awazi Haq, I don't go there. Alina, these I don't like these type of channel where very like vulgar type of do this that. I rather I still go to Mufti Yasir and Kaisar Ahmed Raja, because at least they have some substantive things to talk about, so you can actually talk about it. But the other channels are just like no. I mean, Islamic awakening has been like just like
Okay, one question to you, Desino. I'm sorry I'm taking
yeah.
so much time
No,
from
no,
the
no.
other
That's
guests.
good.
I'm really sorry for that. But my really good, do you really think, in your honesty and in your guts, that whatever you are telling these guys will have any effect on them? Or
No, no, no. This is not affect them. A
no, if
conversation on online like this is never to affect the person who you're talking to, because that person is already entrenched in his belief system. He already is there not to actually have a like changing like the for example, I if you can show me evidence of Islam, I will change. I'm okay with that. I can become a Muslim if you show me evidence, proper evidence that Islam is true. I will change my mind, no problem. But the same cannot be said for Kaisar Ahmad Raja. He, even though he had like 6 different streams, like convinced me on atheism. He's not sitting there to be convinced on atheism. He just wants to bash the atheists that come in and show how weak the position is and all that. That's
yeah,
fine. I mean, that's his channel. That's he wanting to do. No problem. But for me, show me something that is actual proof for Islam that is convincing, and I'll change my mind. No problem. And so when I talk to them or Mufti and all that, I'm talking not for myself. I'm talking more for people who are listening and people who might have the same question. Like today, I went to his channel, and they were talking about the different qirats. Did you
Mm,
go
yeah.
there today? Did you hear?
No. Actually, I was working, and that's
Oh,
one
okay.
of my complaint to you as well, because you chose pretty odd times for your.
Yeah, today I did a half a stream before, and then I got a call. I had to go take care of a bunch of things, and now finally I was like, before I forget, I have to
Okay,
make the second part.
I heard something on, because I was walking in. I had this headphone on, so I was paying attention in between. I heard something about NLP. I didn't get that. What was that you were
NLP is
talking?
some sort of like a mind, positive mind uh,
Oh,
thing
okay. So
that
neurolinguist.
has a
Are you so
neurolink something. Yeah,
Yeah,
neurolinguistic
it's called
programming?
neuro-linguistic programming. Yeah.
Programming. Oh, okay. I
yeah.
got it. I got it. Yeah, I
That's
know
I
this
think
guy.
Kaisar Raja. They were
Yeah,
saying
Richard.
Kaisar Raja does that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
from
Okay.
Richard Bandler. These guys
Yeah.
made this. Okay.
I don't
Gentlemen,
know anything about that.
gentlemen, I
Yeah.
gotta bounce.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your time, and I'll catch you on the next one.
No
Yes,
problem.
thank you very much.
Okay. Take
I
care.
like your new avatar. This look pretty good, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No,
Yeah,
but
Ray,
that
really
doesn't
likes
make
it.
any sense. This avatar doesn't make sense though, because you got to have a cereal in there, like a cereal box.
Yeah, I was looking for it, but I couldn't find it. And but that that serial, that particular serial is spelled differently. This one is
Yeah, no.
spelled differently.
To be honest, I for a long time I had no idea that what 4G cereal meant. For a long time, not from your name. I'm talking when I was a kid, because we had like 4G cereal, 4G cereal. I thought that was the name, and then later on, it's like I realized, wait a second, it's 4G cereal.
It's a porridge
That's
food.
true. Porridge
Yeah,
food. Yeah, yeah, that kind of
yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
yeah. That's cool.
All
That's
Uh,
right,
cool.
guys.
All
Thank you
right,
so much.
no
All right,
problem, 4G.
take care.
Take care.
Catch you later.
thanks, man.
See, Rustam, you believe in different things. I believe in different. You believe in the blue elephant. I believe in pink elephant. But we can still agree on the platform. And I don't want to kill you because you don't believe in my elephant. And I hope you don't want to kill me because I don't believe in your elephant.
Of course not. Of course not. I mean, yeah, it's a blasphemous, but anyway. So that the point was, I'm sorry. Again, I'm taking sorry, Salish. If he said that, I'm going to watch this, because I used to have. I studied that NLP also when I was very young, so I want to know what he was saying about that. But the thing is, again, they have this very crude or very entrenched position, which is very difficult, from to move on.
Yeah.
So I really sometimes wonder that, okay, you go there and you try to explain things, and I think you did this many times. Same argument, you explain them through different methods and try.
You know what my wish is, Rustam?
Yes.
I wish, or I hope in the future, the Muslim channels and ex-Muslim debates and conversation, things like that, can happen in a very similar way that the other like Christians and atheist channels have debate. Very civil, like point to point, no direct derogatory, you are stupid and this and that and all that other BS that comes along with like, being on the opposite side. I watch these debates all the time, like from different communities, like intellectual Jewish debates with Christians, and I watch Christian debates with atheists and Christian with Christians. I don't see this type of vitriol when it comes to them debating or questioning each other's systems, you know. But for some reason, when it comes to Muslim defending their religion against something, it always diverges into something about like, this and you stupid and this and tum loki, this and that. So my hope is in the future, after all these conversations, the Muslims get to a point where they can talk about their religion without all this shenanigans, you know.
Let's say Salish or Silesh.
Sa-
I don't
uh,
know how it is pronounced.
Salish.
Yeah, good morning to you, all of you from India.
Good
Morning.
morning.
Yeah.
So
So
you
I
have.
was also on that debate
Oh,
with
okay. With
Mr. Hamza, Mr.
oh
Hamza,
yeah, I remember you. You were the one who asked
and
about 6 days. Oh no. That was Abu
no,
Shakir. You asked
I
about what?
asked I asked him about the epistemology. He talked about a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
philosophical
You were the
things.
first speaker. You were the first person who
I was
called
the
in.
first, yeah,
Yeah.
correct,
I remember. Yeah.
correct. So, so there were a lot of hot air floating around, a lot of things which he was speaking, which was trying to justify the entire Islamic apologia that he was trying to construct using certain terminologies which he has taken from the philosophy of science. So I was trying to criticize that, and I knew that it's a daunting task because there were a lot of his supporters around ready to pounce upon me in case there is any discomfort caused by
Well,
them.
I mean,
So
let me get this straight. From what he was explaining, just to steelman his position, is this correct? What he was, maybe I misunderstood what his position was, but his position was that when it comes to science, you have a scientific epistemology that you have to follow,
yeah,
the scientific method and all that. But when it comes to religion, you don't have to follow the same scientific epistemology because religion has its own set of epistemology, and if and to make sense of the religious uh,
yeah,
stories
yeah,
and
exact.
dogma, you have to use the religious epistemology, not the scientific epistemology, because
Yeah.
they are two
So
different epistemologies.
so exactly. In fact, that's what I wanted to understand from him because from what all he was saying, I thought that is exactly what he meant. And when I asked him whether is this what he wants to say that there are two epistemologies, one is the epistemology of Quran, one is the epistemology of science, and you want to probably understand science through epistemology of Quran and vice versa. He was not coming out forthright because it's all based upon confusing the people, including the moments, because the moments just lap up any explanation regarding Quran and you know, its dominant narrative. The whole idea is that Quran is something which is privileged. It's a discourse. Quranic discourse is somehow which is privileged. And a few words he used, which pointed out towards that, was the use of the word testimony. He made an explicit statement that testimony is one of the important, epistemic, epistemological tools through which you can justify knowledge. Now, I completely told him that no, that's not the case. It's not the testimony of your your Nabi, or testimony which is a testimony of those prophets who are supposed to have received some sort of a divine propositions through you, some experiences that is accepted by scientific community. Yes, if there is let's say a head of a big lab and he makes a statement that we have discovered this, then this could be considered as a testimony which should be considered by other people in the scientific community. So there were a lot of confusions and use of those
Yeah.
terminologies
So
that these
I'll,
apologias use.
so maybe, yeah, you can maybe confirm or let me know if my thinking is correct, because the way when I hear that, because whenever they try to explain like, and there's a pattern that they're gonna go by, like oh, do you it's a playbook. They follow a playbook. The first thing they're going to say is like, so do you think are you empiricist or not? And if the person says yes, then the answer is going to be like, so you think empiricism is the only way we know knowledge? And then you're going to say yes. If you say yes to that, then the next question will be like, isn't there information we receive without our empirical senses? We still trust that, right? Okay. One of the forms of knowledge is testimony. And if you say yes to that, then they're going to go to the next step saying, well, if you agree to that, that testimony is a valid form of knowledge, then why don't you agree that we have testimony from our prophets and from our sahabas? So why don't we are justified to accept that? And I think the disconnect there is that they are equating that type of testimony to actual scientific testimony. There's a
Correct.
world of difference
Correct.
between a testimony that says I saw a cat, and there's a testimony that says I saw a dragon yesterday. They are not the same
That's true.
testimony, you know. They try to make these there's a testimony that says the moon was split in two, right, from a sahaba, whatever. That testimony is not the same as you saying that I saw the sky and the sky was blue. They have
Absolutely.
totally different epistemic values, but they try to
Correct. Correct.
equate both of them as if they are the
The
same.
same.
They are not the same.
Exactly. Exactly. They're not the same. And that is exactly what I told him. No, the testimony, from what you understand, is not the testimony, probably, which we call as testimony, although the testimony is not accepted as such. Yes, we accept those because whenever a scientist makes a discovery or he makes a conclusion, he would come out with a paper and he would write a paper, he would print out everything, he will tell what are the things he has done, what are his assumptions, and on what basis he is coming to the conclusions. And he's going to print it out and it's going to be peer reviewed, it's going to be repeated.
And it
Probably a
is
few more scientists are going
that
to
is
look
the
into
key
it.
thing. That is the key thing. It
Exactly.
has to be repeatable. But if you have
Absolutely.
testimony of the moon being split, and you have testimony about the sea being parted
It
by
cannot be.
none of
Yeah.
those things are repeatable. So
Yeah. No,
even though
no,
you
it's
can
not.
call them, yeah,
I'll tell you, for example, there are lot of scientific episodes which probably happen once in a million year. You know, like splitting off maybe some fancy neutrino or something like that, for which you need to have a huge collider and people wait for years and years that even to happen so that they can test a particular hypothesis, which happens in a lot of cases, like in case of I think this the boson probably
yeah, yeah,
graviton, and they
yeah.
they try to do that for. Uh, so it happens that once in a in decade episode happening, which may not be repeatable, but still it can be at least falsifiable. The whole idea is that if you have a
Falsifiable.
yeah, you can falsify it. You can create an experimental situation in which you can falsify the proposition. Now the problem is that your Quranic statements and propositions, they cannot be falsified because first of all you will have to die in order to understand whether there are heavens or not.
So
So
that is what his point was, that you need a totally different epistemology to go with the
that's absolute
testimony.
nonsense. Absolute nonsense.
Yeah, I
Because
remember you came in.
then you can't call it's scientific, because then I
No, yeah.
actually I came to the very first proposition. My first question was, do you believe do you understand the issue of theory of demarcation? Now
Oh, yeah, yeah.
demarcation
I
is one of
remember
the
you said that.
basic issues of science, is that how do you demarcate between a science and a non-science? How do you
Right.
demarcate between what is a pseudoscience and what you consider as science? And therefore, what exactly is the methodology? Is there any specific methodology of science that needs to be considered in order to segregate the two processes? So he said, then regarding demarcation, he said a few blah blah blah, things here and there, but he
Yeah.
did not
No,
come
I
out.
would
I
actually
asked him.
yeah, like
Just
to
let
see
me
a
add one more. I asked
debate
him.
between you and him by itself. Like nobody, no third or fourth person in there. But that would be a very interesting debate between you and Hamza by on a
No,
channel.
probably he will not do that. I know that only because he understands that I have exposed his positions, so probably he will avoid it. But anyway, coming to that, I asked him whether the propositions of Quran, all right, they are scientific propositions or not. So he was just taken aback, because if we use the theory of sciences, the scientific methodology, in order to evaluate the truth of the scientific of the Quranic propositions, then I mean he's going to have a daunting task. He
It's not
will
going to
not
be
be able
daunting.
to.
It's going to be impossible
It's
because you
impossible,
can't use the
because
scientific method on
Qayamat,
claim that the
Qayamat
Quran.
is, I mean, if you say, okay, how do you verify the existence of Qayamat? If you say, because the world will not be there anymore for anyone to carry on the experiment and to
Yeah,
and to,
no, that's
and
true.
to then
How are you going to
how do
falsify
you verify?
it?
Yeah, how to
Yeah.
falsify? And then I say, for example, I mean, okay, if there is a, okay, let's say, okay, if there is Jannah or a, something, or these heavens exist, then how do you do that? Then again, he will not be able to do that. Then again, the question of how do you explain the hallucinations of Prophet Muhammad, because he went to the seventh heavens and he sat on a burak, and he that these are all propositions which uh, 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 cannot be falsified, nor there is any corroborating evidences, and by any stretch of imagination, it cannot be explained. But yes, modern sciences can explain them through what they call as the epileptic seizures
Oh, yeah,
in
yeah.
human beings,
Have you seen
because
that
human beings have these. Yes,
session with Abdullah Gondal?
wonderful. Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah, yeah.
In
That
fact,
was a very,
Ali,
very informative.
in fact, Ali Sina, when almost 20 years back, when we used to do those things over the internet, and and those days Ali Sinha had his site was there, and he was a guy who had put on this theory that actually Muhammad was suffering from epileptic seizures, and I'm glad that somebody has now taken it up in a more in a more serious way. He had exactly said that, and he said that probably he had certain hormonal he had certain his face had deformed because of certain things, and he was very high on testosterone because of a certain medical condition. That is why he had very high libido, and he was having seizures, and he used to foam from his mouth, and he used to have all sorts of hallucination. He used to repeat himself continuously. He used to sweat
Yeah.
profusely, and all this can be attributed to his medical condition. Now, when the sciences are able to explain why Muhammad was saying those things that he said, then he will this guy Hamza is going to start having those epilepsies seizures.
No,
I'm
but
sure about that.
that is where the reverence, in Urdu we say
Yeah, exactly.
aqidat ki patti, like since value Muhammad so highly and they consider him so like above everything else, it's very hard for any Muslim to even comprehend or even go take this idea seriously that he had epileptic seizures and all that, even
Exactly.
though Abdullah Gondal like laid down the whole his whole premise in such a professional way with almost 300 slides and all that. But obviously when it comes to their religious leader, they're not going to
Okay,
listen to it.
Desinu and Silent, I have one question for in regard to Muhammad and his historicity. I know we see when you read the Islamic history, I mean, the Islamic history is full of contradiction. I mean, there are so many things which you say, hey, did he really say that? And then you goes on and you find something totally different. So I have a theory. I don't know I'm right or wrong, but I think the Islamic history was developed much later, not at the time, or we don't have time history from Muhammad himself. There's almost like a black hole. So is it possible that we are talking about someone who is a made up character, developed much more later when the empire was so great and big that they need some kind of a figure to combine all these tribes and
That that
different
is
parts of the
I have a thesis
Rustam.
about it. I have a thesis.
That
I have a thesis on this.
we are not gonna go into that. That's gonna take all night long because I know this. Once that thing starts,
Yeah,
we start
but
discussing. Oh
I'll give you a
yeah,
small.
and who maybe the Islam wasn't even in Makkah and Medina. It was up in the
Uh,
northern
I
region
can.
and the whole thing. Then that goes in such a big topic that we're gonna be sitting here for hours. Then,
because I think sometimes we do not discuss these things that much because we are
I
focusing too much on the text,
yeah,
and text itself is not enough because we can see that the development of the text is much later in the so-called history of Islam. So I think we should also focus sometimes on some of our
We
efforts.
should set up a separate stream where we're gonna dedicate 2-3 hours to it, because right now if we start that topic, believe me, we're gonna be here for hours. So
No.
with that,
Because
with
I
that,
really
I'm
want,
gonna,
yes,
yeah.
I really want you to focus that sometime when you have time.
Yeah, we
Please
should
put a
set up sometime.
yes.
We should sit, because that's a very big topic, and there's a lot of information in there, and there's so many different ideas and theories and topics on that. And I mean, you
And
know
there are
about that.
some physical evidence as well. I mean,
Yes,
you can
yes,
still call them
evidence,
physical evidence.
Qibla directions,
Exactly.
inscriptions,
So
coins. There's so much when it comes to that.
so let me complete on the thing on epilepsy. I'm
Okay.
just a few
So go ahead,
few
say your last
propositions.
statement, and I'm gonna then
Yeah, yeah.
start closing it up. Go ahead.
Yeah, the question is now the question is not that whether Muhammad had those epilepsies or not. The question is that how is it that he got so many normal human beings look up to him and turn him into a leader and accept his propositions. Now, from what I understand is that there is something called a psychogenic non-epileptic seizures, which can be induced in normal human beings. For example, you've seen those Jones and all those guys, you know, they themselves are crazy, but they're able to create a lot of craziness in normal human beings who are there, who are supposed to follow them, the followers. How the normal followers become so crazy. So that is something which is a psychological phenomena which is known as the psychogenic non-epileptic seizure, which means you can induce through psychology, through stressful situations, through certain non-epileptic seizures, which means that they are not related seizures, which are not related to epilepsy, but they are similar to seizures which epileptic people exhibit. So I think that when Muhammad was having all those epileptic seizures, he was able to induce certain the same sort of a non-epileptic seizures and things in the minds of his followers. That's why they become so crazed, and that's what I feel. This is the new this is a new branch of research. I would say that people should try to go into it and understand how is it that crazy people tend to create those crazy followers, apparently normal human beings,
Yeah.
and they become crazy. And it's a reversible thing. The good thing about the non-epileptic seizures is that people who get such seizures induced, they don't have damaged brains, and they can correct themselves mind. And that's what happens when a Muslim when a Muslim becomes a non-Muslim, or become he leaves Islam, he turns into a different human being, because those sorts of brain connections,
Yeah, I think
they tend to change.
it is kind of standard for like anybody who's more dogmatic in orthodox religions, like in like even Hinduism and Christianity and all that. Whoever is more super
Exactly.
dogmatic, when they leave it,
Yeah.
then they go back to their
Yeah.
mind goes back to more
Yeah.
rationality and things like
Yeah.
that. But how do you
So
pronounce your name? Shalish and Salish,
Shalish.
Salish, right?
Shalish.
Salish.
Shalesh, can I
Yeah.
say something,
Yeah.
Shalesh?
So, Salesh, thank you very much. I'll take leave
Yeah.
from
Thanks.
you, and then I'm gonna thank you
Thanks.
for all the input. You have very good input to add to the stream. Thank you.
Um,
Go ahead, Ray.
thank you. No, I just wanted to say I really enjoyed what Shalesh was saying, but if you do a quick search on the internet for the amount of people, and Shaji, hello, good evening, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good, thanks. If you do a quick search for the amount of people that are actually curious or wondering about Muhammad and his epilepsy, you're going to find nothing, because nobody gives a shit at this point. Ignaz Goldziher, Montgomery Watt, people before him even, at some point came to the realization that this person either did not exist, or, like Shaji said, if he did, he was a conglomeration of multiple characters. But it's funny to me, I watched Abdullah Gondel's very well researched video, but to diagnose a man that has been dead for 1400 years is hilarious to me. And then to see the reaction from the Muslim side, you know, well, you know, it's like Uncle Muhammad, you know, he's still around, and we're giving him a clean bill of health. Really just tells you that Muslims, with all due respect, do not worship Allah. They worship Muhammad. I wanted to also talk about, Mirza Ghalib is on, and Aziz Marani. Hey, guys. I also wanted to talk about um, Desinio earlier. People were talking about NLP. I wanted to talk about what NLP means. NLP stands for Neuro Linguistic Programming, okay? Neuro Linguistic Programming is a pseudoscience. It's total bullshit. It means nothing. It means that it's wish fulfillment. It means that if you focus on something, you concentrate on something, it will come true. This is what Keser Badam teaches with no evidence whatsoever. In fact, NLP has been debunked multiple times by serious psychologists, by serious academics as pseudoscience. It's bunk. It is the secret. Okay.
I can tell you one thing from my own experience. I am actually I learned NLP as a subject, as a course, and I can tell you it's bullshit.
Thank you, Shaji. So my point is, and I'm going to shut up after that and let Mirza Ghalib and Aziz and Shaji, take over. I just wanted to say that Keser Badam wants evidence. This twat, this schmuck, this arrogant prick wants evidence for evolution that has been researched and that builds upon taxonomy and Lamarck and all of the science, the accumulated wisdom for hundreds of years that people have toiled for, and he has absolutely nothing to contribute. He wants evidence for evolution, and yet he teaches NLP. He might as well be a magician at this point, because he has no credibility whatsoever. And Desinio, I love you. When you talk to him the next time, please ask him what evidence he has for NLP. He calls himself a motivational speaker. Motivation is bullshit. It's total bullshit. Talk to a starving kid in Africa. Talk to the people in Afghanistan. There was an earthquake in Afghanistan earlier. Thousands of people died. How is it that they couldn't, imagine themselves out of their situation? Neurolinguistic programming, motivational, whatever it is total bullshit. And Keser Raja is a fake and a hack, and we need to call him out on it. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So thanks. From my side, I'll say Keser Raja is not a fake, not a quack, not a twat. I do not endorse that sort of language for him. He's still a person who has his own channel. He has his own views. And as far as motivation speaker, I asked him if he's a motivational speaker. He said, no, don't call me that. I'm not a motivational speaker, from what his side. So on my channel, everybody's entitled to their views. So Ray, that's your view about him. That's fine. I don't agree to it. I think he's doing what he's got to do.
If you're gonna let me, I can say a lot more.
No, let's not. Mirza Ghalib, how are you, sir? Welcome.
Hello.
Yes, how are you, Mirza Sahib? How's everything going?
लगता है सर जी मैं गलत जगह आ गया क्योंकि मुझे अंग्रेजी नहीं आती। वही मैं पूछने ही वाला था कि ये सिर्फ अंग्रेजी वाला है क्या?
आज अंग्रेजी में स्ट्रीम हो रही थी, क्योंकि जिस चीज का मैं रिव्यू कर रहा था वो सारा इंग्लिश में था, तो इसलिए इंग्लिश की स्ट्रीम हो रही है। तो आपने अगर कुछ कहना है आप कह दें, हिंदी में कह दें, नो प्रॉब्लम। आपको मैं दे देता हूँ 2-4 मिनट, नो प्रॉब्लम।
आप मैं जो कल आपने देखा होगा मैं गया था मुफ्ती साहब पे भी।
हाँ, आप भी थे उधर। वही मैं पहले आया था, फिर मेरे बाद आप आए थे। वो किरात के बारे में आपने बात की थी, मैं भी किरात के बारे में पूछ रहा था उनसे।
हाँ, तो मैं ये पूछ रहा था कि कोई मतलब उस्मानी कुरान मौजूद है आज की डेट में?
नहीं, उस्मानी कुरान की कॉपीज मौजूद है, ओरिजिनल उस्मानी कुरान कोई भी नहीं है।
اچھا نہیں، جیسے لاسٹ میں مفتی صاحب نے جواب دیا، جیسے میں نے کہا کہ جہاں اتنی ساری جو جس میں سارے جو مطلب قراتیں ہیں اس میں جو لفظ کچھ الگ الگ ہیں، تو وہ کیسے مطلب عثمانی، کیونکہ عثمان نے تو بھائی سارے قرآن مطلب ساری چیزیں ہٹا کے ایک ہی قرآن ایک ہی کتاب رکھ دی تھی سامنے، بس جوڑ گھٹا کر کے.
ان کا جواب سنا تھا آپ نے اس کے بارے میں؟ ان کا جواب یہ تھا، جو میں نے پہلے کبھی نہیں سنا، لیکن ان کی اب اس کا مجھے پتہ نہیں ثبوت ان کے پاس ہے کہ وہ کہتے ہیں، انہوں نے جواب اس کا یہ دیا تھا کہ عثمان کا جو قرآن تھا، جب اس نے اپنے بندے کو بولا تھا کہ جمع کرو قرآن کو، اور جب لکھایا تھا اس نے، تو اس نے عثمانی قرآن اس طریقے سے لکھایا تھا کہ ایک ہی قرآن میں ساری قراتیں فٹ ہو سکتی ہیں، کیونکہ اس میں نقطے نہیں تھے، زبر نہیں تھے، پیشز نہیں تھے، تو اس نے جو بھی لفظ ایسے لکھے تھے وہ اوپن لکھے تھے کہ اس کو آپ ایسے بھی پڑھ سکتے ہو، ویسے بھی پڑھ سکتے ہو. تو ان کا آنسر یہ تھا کہ عثمانی قرآن جو ہے اس میں ساری قراتیں فٹ ہو سکتی ہیں، وہ لکھی اس طرح گئی تھی.
مجھے تو یہ جواب دیا تھا، جیسے میں نے یہ کہا چلو آپ نے جیسے نیو بھائی کو آپ نے ملک کا بتایا، اور پھر ایک اور ننشروہا یا ننجروہا ایسے کچھ تھا، تو چلو ٹھیک ہے، وہاں تو سمجھ میں
وہ
آتا
جو
کہ
جو ایگزامپل، ہاں وہ جو ایگزامپل جو انہوں نے دیے تھے نا، وہ کہتے ہیں وہ منشر پتہ نہیں جو لفظ کہہ رہے تھے، وہ کہتے ہیں عثمانی قرآن میں یہ والا جو لفظ لکھا ہوا ہے اس کے آگے ڈیش 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 لکھا ہوا ہے کہ ادھر کچھ بھی ڈال دو، جو بھی قرآت میں سے جو بھی ورڈ ہے وہ ڈال دو.
ہاں میں نے تو یہ کہا، میں نے کہا کہ چلو اس کا تو پیٹرن سیم تھا، لیکن کسی کسی لفظ میں جہاں کسی میں واو ہے، کسی میں ہے ہی نہیں، کسی میں الف ہے، کسی میں ہے ہی نہیں، تو اس کو کیسے مطلب کیا لکھا ہوا آخر عثمان نے؟ تو وہ بول رہے اسی میں قرآن میں برابر میں فٹ نوٹ بھی ڈال دیے گئے تھے. تو وہی میں نے کہا کہ ثبوت تو کچھ دکھا دیتے تو بڑھیا تھا. اب یہ لگا لیجیے انہوں نے ثبوت کے طور پہ مجھے پوری ایک کتاب کا ایڈریس دے دیا، ٹھیک ہے. اب ثبوت اگر ہوتے ان پہ تو مجھے تو نہیں لگتا کہ وہ اسکرین پہ لانے میں دیری کرتے.
صحیح نہیں، انہوں نے کوئی، مجھے لگتا ہے کوئی کتاب کا ریفرنس آپ کو دیا تھا، مجھے نہیں پتا وہ کون سی کتاب ہے، لیکن ایک چیز ان کی پوائنٹ مجھے، جب وہ کہہ رہے تھے کہ دیکھیں حفظ آج کل سب سے زیادہ پاپولر ہے، 95% یا 90% لوگ حفظ پڑھتے ہیں، لیکن انہوں نے یہ نہیں بتایا کہ حفظ اتنا مشہور کیوں ہے اس وقت. وہ ایسے کہہ رہے ہیں کیونکہ آج کل تو ساری دنیا میں حفظ لوگ پڑھتے ہیں، لیکن اس پوائنٹ کے اوپر انہوں نے یہ نہیں بتایا کہ حفظ مشہور کیوں ہے. حفظ مشہور اس لیے ہے کیونکہ سعودیہ نے 1970s کے اندر اس کو کینونائز کیا اور اس کو آفیشل قرآن بنایا اپنی کنٹری کے لیے، اور اس کے بعد سے پوری دنیا میں وہ حفظ زیادہ تر یوز ہوتا ہے. اس سے پہلے حفظ اس طرح نہیں تھا جیسے ابھی ہے، ابھی تو ہر جگہ حفظ ہے.
انہوں نے
1929
نہیں 1929 میں ادھر ہوا تھا مصر میں،
مصر میں،
ہاں وہ
ایجپٹ.
1929 اوریجنل تھا جب پہلی دفعہ انہوں نے حفظ کو کینونائز کیا تھا. پھر ایجپٹ کے اندر وہ اتنا یوزفل رہا کیونکہ وہ جو الازہر یونیورسٹی میں ایگزامز ہوتے تھے نا اس سے پہلے، تو کیا ہوتا تھا سارے لوگ جو آتے تھے الازہر یونیورسٹی، وہ جب ایگزامز دیتے تھے اپنے، تو جو ٹیچر تھا اس کو مارک رانگ کر دیتا تھا، رانگ کرتے کہتا ہے کیوں رانگ کیوں کر رہے ہو، ہماری جگہ تو ایسے پڑھا جاتا ہے. دوسرا کہتا تھا ہماری جگہ تو ایسے پڑھا جاتا تھا، تو بڑی پرابلم ہوتی تھی گریڈنگ دا ایگزامس. تو ادھر الازہر یونیورسٹی میں انہوں نے حفظ کی قرات، کیونکہ ایجپٹ میں اس ایریا میں حفظ کی قرات سب سے پاپولر تھی، تو انہوں نے سٹینڈرڈائز کر دیا کہ اچھا بھائی الازہر یونیورسٹی میں جو بھی آئے گا اسٹوڈنٹ وہ حفظ کی قرات پڑھے گا اور دیٹس اٹ، اور جو ٹیسٹ دے گا وہ حفظ کے بیس کے اوپر دے گا. جب سے انہوں نے یہ
دیکھیں
پالیسی
ہاں
لگائی.
انہوں نے ایک بات اور یہ کیا نام ہے یہ بھی بولی کہ ہم تو ساری قراتوں کو سامنے لانے پہ لگے پڑے ہیں. میں نے کہا تو بہت اچھا کام ہو جائے گا.
جی
جو لوگ
مرزا
آ کے ہمیں ڈائلوگ مارتے ہیں کہ ایک زیر جبر کا فرق نہیں ہے، کم سے کم ان کے ڈائلوگ تو بند ہوں گے.
مرزا غالب دیکھیں یہ اس میں اور کچھ نہیں ہے، سمپلی اس میں قرآن کی کمپوزیشن اور حدیث، اس میں انسان کی انگلیوں کے نشان جو ہیں آپ کو ہر سٹیج پہ ملتے ہیں. اور جہاں تک پریزرویشن کی بات ہے تو اوڈیسی اور ایلیڈ جو گریک ہومر کی لکھی ہوئی ہیں وہ 8ویں صدی BC میں کمپوز کی گئی تھی، اور آج بھی وہ ویسی کی ویسی ہی ہیں. تو پریزرویشن کچھ بھی پروو نہیں کرتی، کچھ بھی پروو نہیں کرتی. ویداز جو ہیں وہ تو بھی ویسے ہی ٹرانسمیٹڈ ہیں. حالانکہ آپ کو پتہ ہے مرزا غالب کہ آپ انڈیا میں رہتے ہیں، آپ کو پتا ہوگا ویداز جو تھے وہ اجازت نہیں تھی لوگوں کو کہ اس کو لکھے. یہ اسمرتی اور شروتی کا جو کانسیپٹ ہے آپ کو پتا ہوگا کہ جی شروتی وہ ہے جو سنا ہے اور اسمرتی وہ ہے جو یاد ہے. ویداز جو ہیں، جو برامنز تھے، ان کو اجازت نہیں تھی کہ یہ لکھیں. تو یہ جو اسلام کا جو یہ دعویٰ ہے لوح محفوظ اور قرآن میں کوئی تبدیلی نہیں ہے، اٹس اباؤٹ ٹائم کہ ہم لوگ پش بیک کریں اور کمپیریٹیو ریلیجن کو یوز کریں اور لٹریچر کو یوز کریں اور یہ کہیں ان کی جو کلیمز ہے ان کو ایز ٹروتھ ایکسیپٹ کرنے کی کوئی ضرورت نہیں ہے. سمپلی ہم ان کو یہ کہیں کہ بھائی آپ کے قرآن سے پہلے کتنی ایسی کتابیں آئیں. ٹبیٹن بک آف دا ڈیڈ پریزروڈ ہے، ایجپشن بک آف دا ڈیڈ پریزروڈ ہے، اولڈ ٹیسٹمنٹ بھی ٹھیک ٹھاک پریزروڈ ہے. یہ صرف اسلام کے جھوٹ ہیں جو کہتے ہیں کہ جی بائبل میں تبدیلی آ گئی تھی، تورات میں تبدیلی آ گئی تھی، یارہ یار یارہ. کیا ثبوت ہے آپ کے پاس؟ کچھ بھی نہیں. بھگوت گیتا بھی ویسے کی ویسی ہی ہے جیسی اوریجنلی ٹرانسمٹ کی تھی. وہ تو یاد، جیسے اسلام میں کانسیپٹ ہے کہ جی لوگوں کو یاد تھا. تو یہ سب مذہب ایک ہی جیسی بونگیاں مارتے ہیں، ایک ہی جیسی چھلانگیں مارتے ہیں، اور اسلام جو ہے اس وقت کچھ زیادہ ہی اچھل رہا ہے. سمپلی ان کو پش بیک کریں بیسڈ آن یور نالج آف کمپیریٹیو ریلیجن اینڈ ہسٹری. تھینک یو.
اب جو انہوں نے لاسٹ میں بات بولی ہے جس کا میں نے ثبوت مانگا ہے کہ جو بولے کہ اس کے فٹ نوٹ لکھ دیے جاتے تھے کہ ہاں یہاں یہ لفظ بھی آتے ہیں. اب اس کے ثبوت پہ کیونکہ جو انہوں نے کتاب بولی تھی تو میں نے ڈاؤن لوڈ کر لی، اور لگ بھگ کیونکہ مجھے کچھ دلیلیں تو چاہیے نہیں تھی، مجھے ثبوت چاہیے تھے، تو میں صرف فوٹوز دیکھ رہا تھا. تو اس میں چلو ورش قرآن کا پہلا پنہ، قالون قرآن کا پہلا پنہ، خلف قرآن کا پہلا پنہ، ایسے تو ہے. باقی جو ہوں گی دلیلیں ہوں گی، لیکن ثبوت کچھ نہیں ہے. میں نے مانگا تھا ثبوت.
جی
ہاں، دلیلوں کا تو یہ مسئلہ ہے کہ اگر آپ کے سامنے مرڈر ہوا ہو تو ایک اچھا وکیل ثابت کر دے گا کہ مرڈر آپ نے ہی کیا ہے. ٹھیک ہے، دلیلوں کا تو یہ مسئلہ ہے. یہ ثابت کر دے گا کہ مرڈر ہوا ہی نہیں ہے، بھلے ہی سامنے لاش پڑی ہے پھر بھی اچھا وکیل ثابت کر دے گا آپ کے سامنے کہ مرڈر ہوا ہی نہیں ہے.
تو اب مجھے لگتا ہے وہ والی اسٹریم شروع سے دیکھنی پڑے گی، کیونکہ میں نے اس والی اسٹریم شروع سے نہیں دیکھی کہ بھئی انہوں نے کیا کیا دلیلیں دی ہیں. وہ 7 حروف کی اور کافی ساری اس حروف اور قرات کے بارے میں تو بندہ بہت ڈسکس کر سکتا ہے، لیکن اب دیکھتا ہوں میں والی ویڈیو بھی جا کے شروع سے دیکھوں گا،
ہاں لیکن
پتہ
جیسے
چلے گا.
یہ قرات کا یہ مسئلہ میں ایک چھوٹی سی بات کر کے ختم کرتا ہوں کہ اگر آپ کے پاس قرات اس پہ نہ لگی ہوتی تو آپ کسی بھی صورت میں جو ہے نا یہ نہیں کر سکتے کہ اس کا مطلب کیا ہے، کیونکہ عرب دنیا کے اندر بھی مختلف ڈیالیکٹس ہیں اور بعض جگہوں پہ الفاظ چینج ہو جاتے ہیں. اب جیسے اگر اردو میں اب لکھتے ہیں جواب اور خواب، اگر آپ ان میں سے نقطے ہٹا دیں تو آپ کو یہ بہت مشکل ہو جائے گا یہ ڈیسائفر کرنا کہ یار یہ جو بندہ لکھ رہا تھا اس نے جواب لکھا تھا یا خواب لکھا تھا. And they have two very different meanings.
ایک بات میں ایڈ کروں گا، ملک اور مالک میں بہت فرق ہے. ملک اور مالک،
تو یہ ایک ان کی ایک ذہنی جو ہے نا وہ آپ سمجھ لیں جمناسٹکس ہے جو اب ان کو کرنی پڑ رہی ہے، کیونکہ یہ اگین یہی ہوتا ہے نا جب آپ ہسٹری اتنی کانٹرڈکٹری ہو اور وہ اتنے لمبے عرصے پہ بنائی گئی ہو، مختلف لوگوں کی طرف سے بنائی گئی ہو، تو پھر اس کے ساتھ یہی ہوتا ہے جو آج کل آپ کو نظر آ رہا ہے ان کی حالت جو ہو رہی ہے.
اب جو دو رائٹرز کے اور بکس کے نام بتائے گئے وہ دونوں ہی انڈینس تھے، یعنی آج کے دور کے یا مان لو 500 سال کے اندر کے رہے ہوں گے. ٹھیک ہے، ایک موٹی بات ہے. لیکن اب عثمان کے نے جو نسخہ جو ایک ہی فی الحال تیار کیا تھا سب کو ہٹا کے، اس میں یہ فٹ نوٹ کہاں سے آئے گا یہی دیکھنا باقی رہے گا. اور اگلی اسٹریم میں تو میرے 2 ہی سوال ہیں ان سے. ایک تو یہ ہے کہ اگر کسی انسان کی ساری برائیوں کو ماننے سے منع کر دیا جائے تو کیا اس کا اصل کریکٹر سامنے آ سکتا ہے؟ دوسرا یہ ہے کہ سر جی مجھے ثبوت تو نہیں ملا وہ فٹ نوٹ والا، آپ دکھا دیں تو بڑی مہربانی ہوگی. بھائی آپ نے دیکھ رکھا ہے.
یہ میں نے شیئر کیا ہے اپنا چینل کے اوپر. میں نے 2 ویڈیو پارٹ 1 اور پارٹ 2 بنائی ہے. ادھر کہاں گئی؟ یہاں یہ رہی. یہ اگر نظر آ رہا ہے اردو، کیا قرآن محفوظ ہے یا نہیں، کیا قرآن محفوظ ہے یا نہیں، پارٹ 1 اینڈ پارٹ 2. تو اس کے اندر میں نے قرات کے اوپر کافی ڈیٹیل میں بات کی ہے، اور یہ دونوں اگر کسی نے دیکھنی ہو تو یہ دونوں वीडियो देख रहे हैं।
वैसे ये जो आपकी वीडियो नजर आ रही है ना, कुरान, उर्दू मजहब, खुदा और फिलोसफी, इसमें जो आपने ब्लू रंग इस्तेमाल किया है बड़ा जबरदस्त लग रहा है। वैसे कंग्रेचुलेशन, आप इसको और यूज किया करें।
सही जबरदस्त। ठीक
शाहजी तुसी इंटीरियर डिजाइनर हो मैं गया।
नहीं, ये ब्लू वाला चक्कर कुछ और है। मैं भी आपको दिखाता हूँ। ये हमारा एक बहुत लंबा फ्यूड चल रहा है।
नहीं, वो फ्यूड हमारा जो है ना, अच्छा वो फ्यूड भी आपने देखा? नहीं, वो जिन्होंने नहीं देखा वो फ्यूड भी दिखा देता हूँ, फिर आप लोग फिर कहोगे कि ये किस फ्यूड की बात कर रहे हैं। ये देखें जी, ये फ्यूड आपको नजर आएगा अभी।
सर जी
ये कहाँ गया? ये उर्दू पिंक या ब्लू एलिफेंट, रुस्तम शाह की गुस्ताखी। तो जिसने
शायद आप लोग भूल गए हैं कि इंग्लिश का प्रोग्राम था, तो मैं चलता हूँ, वरना हिंदी
चले। ठीक। थैंक यू वेरी मच गालिब,
शुक्रिया।
मिर्जा गालिब, अगले हफ्ते मिलते हैं। मिर्जा गालिब, अगले हफ्ते मिलते हैं।
ओके
Okay. All right, guys. Really, Rustam? Is this what we're doing?
Yes, you're closing in.
This is what we're doing? Oh my God. Again with the Gustakhi and, blasphemy over here. Come on, man. All right. All right, guys. Thank you very much for coming, and thanks for all the input. And just like, I think the only person who didn't get a chance to say something is Morani. Morani, you want to say something before we close?
हाँ, मुझे पूछना था, मुझे थोड़ा सा ऐसा लगा, मुझे पता नहीं।
We're doing an English stream today.
Okay. I was listening to your channel, and it's like I had a feeling that you had a ghar wapsi kind of thing, So is that true? Can you explain that?
Yeah, ghar wapsi. I finally got 4,000 subs, and I decided when I get 4,000, I'll do a ghar wapsi. So I'm going back home.
So what would be your name?
Yeah. Okay. I'll let Rustam speak. Okay. I'll let Rustam speak. Rustam, you can have my time. Go ahead.
No, Rustam already spoke
no,
a lot.
Muradi,
No.
If you ever write a Quranic text, what we call the verses? We said Quranic verses. If you write a Quran, what we call them?
Okay, I'll let my time raise the producers. How about that? I'll let him have my time.
Murani, please, I want to hear from you. We all want to hear from you.
Oh, come on, yeah. I mean, what I was listening. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm still confused. I mean, I've been on so many streams and listening and talking and all that, but I'm confused about Neo. Neo, are you okay? That's my question.
Yeah, I'm fine. How are you?
All right. I'm good. Thanks for asking. But so I mean, everything okay? Are you confused on something, or I mean, I've been hearing things. I don't know. I mean, if it's true or not, but I don't know. I'm asking you. What's up? Tell me.
I didn't hear a question. What's the question?
That is the question. Are you confused
about
Islam, about all this religion and stuff? And I heard some things that Neo is going back home, meaning ghar wapsi. I mean, I don't know. So
let me. So you're asking, am I becoming a Muslim again?
Kind of
Muslim. Yeah. No, I've always been a Muslim. I'm a cultural Muslim. I don't believe in the story, but I don't particularly dislike Islam. Islam is fine, whatever. People who are Muslim, I'm okay with them. They want to believe whatever they want to believe. I particularly don't hate the religion. I don't hate any religion in that sense. I particularly my issues with Islam is more like the theological issues, like make believe, metaphorical, angels, jinns, the nonsense that a person has to believe if they are part of a religion, regardless of what religion. Those are my real issues with the religion. Other than that,
Desi Neo is Sufi Sab.
Yeah, I mean, not Sufi is even more woo woo. Come on, man. Like Sufis are even more woo woo than the Sunnis, like the Hanafis. And but I mean, for me personally, uh,
I really like the way you say woo woo, you know. Go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah, for me personally, I don't have any issues with like people who are Muslims. They can be Muslim if they want. I'm not an anti-theist. I'm not like out to finish religions from the world. For me, I'm more of like be rational, be
Yeah.
like, be a little bit more nuanced and in your thinking a little bit, and stop with this whole like believing stuff from the 7th century and the 1st century. You got stories from that time and you still sticking on to it and all that stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
I would call myself Ahle choice,
Yeah,
right? Ahle choice.
Desinio, I and Aziz and Shaji, I think that I've said this before. I don't care who you worship, how many times a day, and what you do, as long as it doesn't affect me. And
Oh
and
yeah.
I think that I second what Desinio said. I don't have a problem with your religion. I don't have a problem if you're a Muslim, if you're a Hindu or a Sikh or a Jew or a Christian, whatever it is you do. But the minute you start to impose, the minute your religion starts to encroach into my life, the minute you start to threaten my way of life.
I would like to add to you, Mr. Ray. Not you. It's about humanity, not just
Yeah.
your group.
Go ahead.
Okay. I don't know.
Yeah,
There you
I just got done adding it, saying that about humanity. It's about you and me. It's about humanity.
go. Okay. So
Right.
yeah,
So
to answer Morani's question, yeah, like Ghar Vapsi, I don't know. I think that's from like Jay Devi and all those people from those channel. Those people are doing the Ghar Vapsi thing a lot, right?
I think she needs mental health counseling.
Yeah.
I just
There's
wanted to
Jay
say one thing.
Devi, and there was another girl, lady who was Amna, but now she's some other name.
Yeah, so the format is country, Indian goddess, and last name of an actress.
Oh, okay.
Right. So Malij would be Canada Lakshmi Kidman, with a
Oh,
couple of
Yeah,
right.
and
Malij, I
they
think, had
also
already involuntarily
they
gone through that sequence, because
yeah
remember that crazy guy who was after her,
they
and then the
also
whole
Neo
scenario that happened.
Neo. They also name me as Sardar of Brahman. They also name me as Sardar Brahman Sardar. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
I don't know
I
anything about this the Ghar Vapsi thing. I don't even know what the hell's going
so
on
I'm
with
gonna
these.
go, guys. I'm gonna go on Twitter. I'm gonna try this new thing, the Twitter Spaces thing. Shaji,
Oh, okay.
if you're still up, Desinio Aziz Morani, I'm gonna do it in Urdu. Mirza Ghalib, agar aap hain, to aap bhi aiye. I'm gonna do this Twitter space thing. Let's see how it goes. But I just
I don't know if I'm into Twitter or not, but okay, I'll follow you if I once I have one. I don't know if I
but
am.
I just
Am I?
but I just wanted to say that
Am I into Twitter?
I just wanted to say that the point of secularism, the point of a secular constitution and system isn't to say that all Muslims will go to a gulag or all Hindus will go to a gulag. There's no gulag. Secularism is all religions are protected and no religion is protected. All worship is allowed and no worship is allowed. That is the point. People seem to forget that we atheists, we secular humanists, we're not trying to destroy religion. All we're saying is you keep your religion to yourself and let us
Well,
live our
producer,
lives.
Ray, the producer, you keep on saying atheist. I am not an atheist. I am Pakka Musalman. Come on, remember that.
Marani ji.
It must be very late in night there. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
I don't
You
know
got a
what.
new guest, Desinio. You got a new guest.
Oh, Jatinder Kumar, how are you? Can you hear me? You're not muted. Ray, Jatinder Kumar, going once, going twice. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Neo, you've been
Nope.
very harsh, man. One, twice, thrice. Come on, man.
He got scared something
Hey,
going to
come on, no,
blow up.
no.
You know,
You
sometimes you
make me
don't know.
laugh
Or
sometimes.
no,
You make me
sometimes
laugh
might
sometimes. One, two, twice.
somebody
Come
comes
on.
with
Yeah,
a
I got scared too. I think something is going to blow up in a second. Let's.
yeah.
I was ducking under my. Okay, guys, I have to run
All
as well.
right,
Thank you very
listen.
much,
Take
Desi.
care.
Taking us.
Take care. And Ray, really appreciate it. Thank you. I'm gonna
Love
move you
you.
out.
Congrats.
No problem. Thank you. And Morani, you have the last word.
No, there's no last word. Okay.
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 Yeah. So you're
Well,
the rumors. I don't know if you heard the rumors or what rumors, but I'm a LA choice. I look for the good in everything, and forget about the bads in everything. So I take a supermarket approach with Islam. I go into Islam, I look for the good things, and I adopt it. And if I see something that is not good, I leave it for other people, whoever want to follow. I don't want to follow the bad stuff, but I want to follow the good stuff. So I just pick out.
so tell me about. I mean, You just said you adopted the good stuff that
Yeah.
in Islam. Tell me what good stuff that is not related to more or less like a common sense that everybody knows.
Yeah, the good stuff is
Tell
basic
me,
things
tell
in.
me, tell
I'll
me.
tell you.
Give me a count. Give me a count.
Yeah,
Give me
I'll
one to
give you.
ten. Give me a count.
Basic thing of Islam I like is Islam tells you to respect your parents, right? I like that aspect of Islam.
Well, as a human, don't you know that? As a
Yeah, but
human.
yeah, these are general. That's what I'm saying. The general truths that everybody accepts, I accept it from Islam,
Well,
Christianity, whatever.
like you just said, as a general expect,
Okay.
Islam, yeah. So it's a general
Then
expect.
second
Yeah,
thing
that's the common sense.
I like the ritual things that they do in Eid. They meet each other, they go to each other's houses, they have
Well,
fun.
rituals. If you go about rituals. I mean, if you go look at the rituals, come on. If you go to India, look at the rituals they have. Come on. I mean, you die for it,
Yeah,
man.
but I
Look
don't
at the
have
look at
anybody
the
around me who do that rituals. I'm talking about the
Well,
rituals that
no,
happen in your
no,
own family.
no. They do have
Not
that.
in my family. We don't do any of the
Yeah,
holy. We
yeah, of
don't do
course not.
Diwali.
Not within your family. I'm not talking about your family. I'm
I'm
talking
talking about
about
my family. I have to live in my family, right? So I'm going to look for rituals that are within my family. I'm not going to look for rituals that are from Jewish rituals. I'm not going to look for like Buddhist rituals. I'm going to look for Muslim rituals because that's the rituals that everybody around me in my family follows. So I'll take the good parts out of that. I like I'll enjoy the iftar, but I don't need to do the fasting. But I'll enjoy the iftar when it happens. I'll take the good part instead of the bad parts.
Yeah, but what about when they don't have any food to serve? They don't have any
When they,
food left.
when they don't have any food, I'll tell you.
Everybody was
When
so
they
much
don't,
hungry.
I'll tell you. When they don't have any food to serve in the house, I go outside and eat something. Simple. You can always find a solution. You don't have to be stuck with the problems all the time. You got to be a solution finder instead of a problem finder. If you only find problems, you're gonna only run into problems.
But why run into a problem? Why run
There is
into
no
a
problem.
problem?
That's what I'm saying. If there's no food that is being served in the house, you go outside and get some food. No problem. We live in America. Over here, there is no restriction on food. We're not like in the Middle East or somewhere where there's going to be a hard time finding food. Even in Middle East, if you really want to find the food, you can find it. But I'm saying if you want to find problems, you will look for problems, you'll get problems. And if you look for solutions, you'll always
Okay,
find solutions.
well, in the chat, Mr. Neo, in the chat it says it's 11:40 something at night, and let's call it an even. I don't know what's his name was, but he said about 10:40, but he's an hour behind. I about 11:42. Yeah, so let's call it an even, and let's close your stream, and then you go home, you sleep, you have a rest. I love you.
All right, Maureen. Take care. Have a good night. Okay. All right. So that was good. Uh, I am not on that age level. So I'm a little bit more mature. I have more longer in the tooth, so I look at things a little bit differently. I'm not out there to destroy anything. I'm not out there to fight with anybody. I'm not out there even to like force people to agree with how I think. Everybody has their opinions. I've lived enough to understand that, you know what, everybody their opinion is right, and they fight for their opinion. They fight for their things that they believe in. So when you look at it from the other person's perspective, you get a totally different view of the whole thing, and then you appreciate everything. I have my views, other people have their views. That's how the world moves. And for some people, religion is very important. For some people, they really need religion, and their whole life revolves around religion. I mean, that's it. That's how their life is. You're like, I'm nowhere to tell them that no, your life should not revolve around. Hey, that's your life. You want to do sit-ups all day long, 5 times a day, and just do uthak bathak all the time and pray to an imaginary god. Fine, that's what makes you happy. Do it. I don't care. Just like Ray said, don't bring that shit into my house. Don't force it on me. You want to do it, but don't force me to do that shit. That's all it is. But with that, I think we'll bring it to a close. Thank you everybody for coming, and with that, take care. Good night. Love you all.